Tonight, the eyes of the footy world, indeed the nation, are on two teams and one town. For tonight, Adam Goodes makes his much-anticipated return to AFL football, the game he loves. The adoring Geelong fans have come to celebrate their captain Joel Selwood, who becomes the most successful player to reach 200 games. No one quite knows what the outcome will be tonight, on or off the field. But with so much at stake, we'll be watching and listening as the bright lights of Simmons Stadium shine for the first time this year.
Tonight is more than just a game. Tonight is a statement. A chance to show your best. For September looms large. Against Adelaide, Sydney were devastating, ruthless.
Sydney Swans by massive 52 points.
While Geelong were led to a third straight win by their captain on the verge of 200 games.
3 in a row now to Geelong.
Tonight is their chance to make a statement, to be heard, to lead, and to challenge those who stand in their way.
2015 for the Cats finals, still very much on the agenda.
Indeed, it is a massive night for the entire AFL community. So many different parts to this story tonight. But Dermot, I suspect everyone waits with bated breath, most importantly to see what sort of reception the return of Adam Goodes receives.
What a champion he's been. I mean, they're a pretty respectful crowd down here, predominantly membership-based. There's very few walk-ups, so I think he's going to get a pretty good reception from the crowd here.
It's been a tumultuous few weeks, and you can only imagine the emotions going through his mind as he walks into the ground. And even though he saw, you know, how terrific the AFL responded last week, it's another big night for him.
It'd be a great moment for him. I think he's just killing for his first touch of the footy, and the reaction he gets thereafter will be wonderful.
And we shouldn't underestimate the fact that it's game number 366 for Adam Goodes, equal 8th on the list, and in pretty rarefied air, Derm.
Well, he equals the great super boot, Bernie Quinlan, no less. So, look, he kicks it pretty good. Maybe not as good as Bernie, but what a wonderful list to get onto, and as you call it, 8th all-time games record holder now.
Joining us at Boundary Side tonight is David King, and we should also mention that it's going to be a reasonably big night for the skipper of the Cats who places 200th, Joel Selwood, Kingy.
And he's back in form, Jace, the captain. He's been awesome the last 3 weeks, averaging 27 disposals and hitting the scoreboard, kicking 4 goals in that time. But have a look at the upward curve on his ranking points. He's gone 103, 141 and a massive 171 last week. Can he tonight, for the 50th time in his career, obtain 30 possessions or more? We all hope so. The Geelong faithful hope so. Let's hear him catch up with Cameron Mooney as we go to the break. Can't wait to see you after this.
Favourite passage of play is obviously probably the Hawthorn comeback. Puapolo kicks it across goal to Mackie, to Jono, to myself, to Hawk the goaler after sign.
Goes short to Johnson. Johnson hasn't got the carry. Arriving quickly but not in time was Sewell. Selwood looks up, kicks to Hawkins, and Hawkins is marked right on the 50. This for the game then. Kick is on the way. Siren's gone. They've done it again. They've done it again.
I remember Gaz kicking a pretty nice goal against Brisbane down here one day. It was probably stuck out a little bit. It was on my brother Troy, which he probably won't like me mentioning. There's probably some footage of it that's being shown right now. But, you know, I got to play with some unbelievable players, and, you know, it makes you feel very lucky. I said I was a kid growing up barracking for the guys, but to come in, then be mates with them, and then challenge them, and then them challenge you. You find some, I mean, you have some great relationships growing up.
Beautiful night in Geelong. It's a cool night, and you can see the respect in the crowd from the Geelong fans, which is a terrific sign of what might be ahead tonight for Adam Goodes. And of course for Joel Selwood, the beloved skipper who plays his 200th game. Not forgetting Luke Parker, who plays game number 100 as well. The Swans are ready. There's a lot of reasons, a lot of storylines to this game, but there's an air of nervousness around for both teams, Jason Dunstall, because there's just so much at stake, and really the round hasn't been kind to either side so far with the results we've seen. Sydney have slipped to 5th by virtue of the Bulldogs' big win over Port Adelaide, and of course Adelaide's upset victory over Richmond last night makes Geelong's task to making the finals all that much much tougher.
But that's why this season's been so good, Hutto. Just when you think things are starting to take shape, they get turned on their head. And we've seen these sort of results every weekend for the season. There's been huge upsets. I mean, the Tigers were charging, they got stopped in their tracks. It's the Bulldogs that are absolutely flying at the moment. Now, Sydney, if they want to maintain that top 4 spot, they've got to come down to Geelong and win, where not many teams do.
And it is hard to read form from week to week, as you just said. I mean, last week they were devastating.
Yep.
We saw Adelaide respond to their poor performance last night against Richmond. So how much do we take out of Sydney's win last week? Because we know their form before that was pretty ordinary, albeit against some very good teams in Hawthorn and West Coast.
Yeah, if they reproduce last week, I think they'll win, but we do have to take into account the fact that there's no Franklin. Also, McGlynn's a late withdrawal for the Swans, so they're missing a couple of important players. They need to hit the ground running. They moved the ball beautifully last week. It was exciting stuff that we hadn't seen from them for so long, but this mob, the Cats, are so good at just clawing their way through tough contests to fight and scratch and do whatever they need to do to get into the finals, to win the big games and put themselves on the big stage in September.
Yeah, I mean, there's multiple storylines with Geelong. You've got 4 teenagers playing tonight: Kolajasny, Cockatoo, Gregson and Lang, and yet all the focus has been on those older players. Obviously, Stevie J, self-inflicted, is not here. We would have been celebrating his 250th. I think he's got a whole bunch of his mates who are all planning to come here tonight for a big party. But the Sydney Swans will be hoping to spoil the party for Joel Selwood in his 200th. And here they come, and just having a listen to the crowd. I'm sure it's all positive at this stage as they hit the ground.
There's a couple of nice pockets of the Sydney Swans supporters down here, and of course the old South Melbourne supporters who would certainly love to be a part of a night like this. Such a big game to look forward to.
They don't let many in down here, though, Jace.
No, it's a closed shop, Hutto.
Which is fair enough.
Closed shop, and they deserve that. I mean, it's a fantastic venue, a brilliant ground, and it really has been a fortress for the Cats in recent years.
Well, the Cats have changed a little bit about the way they've been playing in the last 3 weeks. They've been involved in lower scoring games, a bit more defensive focus, getting numbers at the contest and giving support to this man, Joel Selwood. He showed straight away as soon as he came to this club that he was a born leader, and I'm not sure if that was a bow or not he took. I don't think it was, but it may as well have been, because he is such a leader, such a commander. And of course we know that tonight there is joint banners to run through for both Geelong and Sydney. So the Cats are lining up ready, and the Sydney Swans are coming across as well.
I think we all had our hearts warmed by the way that the AFL community responded last week with the respect shown to Adam Goodes, and this is just taking it a step further as he returns. Both teams going to run through the banners together. Fantastic stuff.
Respect, unity and fairness. The Swans and the Cats are out onto Simmons Stadium. A huge night for Joel Selwood, for Luke Parker and for Adam Goodes, who returns to the AFL field. And we look forward to what is to come tonight, a huge clash between these two sides. Which way, you said if Sydney play at their best, you think they'll win? Which way do you think it'll go, Jace? Let's get you to hold those thoughts, because the two coaches are also in unity downstairs with Dermot Brereton and David King.
Thank you very much, Anthony. We do have the coaches here. Welcome, gentlemen. First of all, I'll ask an open question to you. The unification of the banner there, whose idea was it? And I'm quite sure the other person, willingly said yes straight up.
I'm pretty sure it's the Geelong Football Club's idea. They've been fantastic for the last couple of weeks, Derm. They were a wonderful footy club, and we expect nothing less from this great organisation.
John, you had a heavy reliance and a big performance last week from Kurt Tippett, both in the ruck with 9 hit-outs to advantage, and then he kicked 3 goals in the first time. He's a major part of what you're about tonight with no Buddy Franklin.
Oh, yeah, he is, but it's always about the whole team as well. And, he was good last week, but we've got to make sure he gets a different type of opponent tonight.
We're just showing him here charging forward from one of the stoppages, which is just backwards of centre. His ability to get forward, drop back into his leading patterns and shake a man was first class. Your midfield had a great day, but this must have really pleased you as a coach to see the work rate here.
Yeah, it's good. It's always good to put pressure on the opposition when you're going forward, but we know he's going to be tested both ways tonight, and he's got a ruckman that's been in good form and more of a running midfielder than an actual genuine ruck.
Does he worry you more as a ruckman or as a forward, Scotty, from a Geelong point of view?
Oh, he's tough to match up on in the forward half, there's no question. I think that's probably his preferred position, but as we just saw, when he plays in the ruck, he's just as effective in the forward half. So John's right, he's playing against a different sort of player tonight, which will make for an interesting battle.
Scotty, in a topsy-turvy season, you're on an upward curve now. The last 3 weeks have been very good. You've averaged only conceding 51 points against. You're getting your game back the way you want it.
Yeah, it's been improvement. We've been inconsistent this year. We've had some defensive efforts that we were disappointed with, and the last few weeks have been good, but I think that the challenge increases tonight.
John, if I can ask you, obviously a lot of the celebration here of the unification banner is about Adam and the way he's gone about his business. How has he come up tonight when he's talked to you?
Oh, he's come up fine. I mean, it's always been about this week getting back into football, and from the moment he came back to the club, that's all he's focused on. He really wants to enjoy what he's been doing for 18 years, and that's playing football against a great team, and I'm sure that's what he's about tonight.
And he slips up another rung tonight. He goes to 8th on the all-time. Gents, thanks for joining us. We'll let you go coach your teams.
Thanks.
Thank you, gentlemen. Back to you, Anthony, in the central commentary position.
Thank you, Derm. We are in the central commentary position. We're looking forward to what should be a fantastic game tonight. The Cats, led by that man Joel Selwood, and Adam Goods and the Sydney Swans, just about ready for battle, and so are we. First and only game under lights this year at Simmons Stadium, so it's a huge occasion, not just for the club but for the town, and it's a wonderful sight. It's a beautiful night, Jason Dunstall, as we're only moments away from the opening bounce between the Cats and the Swans.
Yeah, it's such an incredibly important match for the way that the final 8 plays itself out. The Cats so desperate to be a part of September again, and they've got themselves back in the 8. Can they hang on to that now? And Sydney, well, people were starting to put the slows on them only, before last week's performance. And it was the quality of that performance that got people thinking they might be back.
Recent history is in favour, the real recent history is in favour of the Swans. They beat the Cats comprehensively in round 7 by 43 points. It was a night where Geelong played pretty good first half, but the Swans were all over the top of them, led by Luke Parker. They lost Mitch Duncan that night. Of course, he's back in the team now. Round 11, that was in Sydney last year. They smashed the Cats that night.
Well,
so
they've won the last 2, Hutto, but even the one before that, the Geelong one, they haven't been close games. One team's been able to break the other, and they've been very, very comfortable margins. 44 points, the smallest margin in the last 3 outings between these two teams, as we see the skippers getting together for the toss of the coin. Joel Selwood in game number 200, and Jared McVeigh
in game number 261.
Tails. Good luck, guys.
So the skipper wins the toss, and the Cats the kick to the right of screen, down to the players' stand, as we head down to David King.
Thanks, Hutto. Well, have a close look at the Swans last week live in the SCG against Adelaide Crows, and their midfield really took control. Belted the Crows at the clearances, and they had an abundance of possessions. It was Hanbury with 40, McVeigh 38, Kennedy 32, and Kieran Jack had 26 disposals, but amongst those 26, 10 goal assists. They were back. This is them at their best, their very best midfield, up and going. That is where they're potent. Geelong love to get the ball inside their forward 50 to that central spot, the hot spot, top of the goal square, 15 to 20 metres from goal, to give their tools an opportunity to contested mark. That will be the challenge for the Swans tonight. Can they curtail the influence of Tom Hawkins and Josh Walker? He's back, Hawkins, 10 goals in the last 3 weeks, and we saw Walker kick 5 goals last week against the Lions, which was a personal best. Look at their one-on-one rate there. They are back. They are brutes in the forward half. Can Walker put 2 in a row together, Hutto? I can't wait to see.
Well, it's a real test, isn't it? I mean, 5 goals against the Brisbane Lions, a career best, but to do it against the Sydney Swans, I suspect the supply won't be as clear as it was last week, and that will be one of the major difficulties, but he's got a big role to play, Josh Walker, to support Tommy Hawkins.
No doubt about that. Tommy Hawkins is going to be the main go-to man, but at the other end, they're not without their issues. We made mention of it before and touched on it. Tippett, through necessity, goes into the ruck, which means that once again, like the game against Port Adelaide, Reid and Goods become the 2 central targets in the Swans forward line. Straight into the firing line, Adam Goods, the main target, the main go-to man in the Sydney Swans forward line.
And what about the smaller forwards for the Swans? Jack, Jetta and Parker, so dangerous alongside Isaac Heaney. So much can happen at ground level if Goods and Reid don't mark the footy.
So we look at some of the stars, the weapons of various teams, and Jetta was off the leash last week. I'm sure the Cats will be looking to contain him. Young Tom Mitchell, Sam Reid, he's got a big role to play. Lonergan watching him closely. And we're set to go this big night down at Geelong. It's the Cats and the Swans, and a mighty roar around Simmons Stadium as we begin with a centre bounce. And Blitzarves, who's taken on the #1 ruck role for the Cats, starting off against Tippett. Joel Selwood will always have plenty to say. Quick throw up, a bit shallow where they weren't quite ready for it. Hanbury was, though. Mitchell took it from Jetta. Bangs it up inside the 50. Heaney! Oh, what a grab for a young man in his first season. Kieran Jack bolts back towards goal. He flicked it over to Jetta. We know he's a penetrating kick. He can get clear. They're long and they're low kicks from Jetta to the square. The Cats, Enright with a fumble. There was fumbles from both teams. And Selwood gets his first possession. It's not going to be easy here for Geelong. The Swans were able to line up and make sure that the outlets were covered. And the pass in the direction of Goods, but couldn't handle it cleanly. And now the Cats are away. Mitch Duncan gathered the ball up and takes it away. Needed to enlist the support of Motlop, who works in well with Kelly. And it was a fairly challenging kick to the wing. Guthrie, but Kelly kept on coming.
Good strip.
Yeah, unfortunately, the ball didn't go with him. Rampy on the job. And there's some good hard stuff on Smith by Duncan. And it's over and out.
Gee, what a big job for Tom Mitchell going around behind. That's a grassing. And almost good smother. Tom Mitchell is having to go with Joel Selwood right on the overlay of the commentator's word there.
Some early nerves even from the most experienced players out there. Swans showing good desperation early though. Cunningham, Hanbury, and this man Jetta, he's away. They've given him a metre. He doesn't go. He goes for Goods. In the pocket, Kolajasny over the top of it.
It's really interesting, those matchups too, because they've got young Jake Kolajasny on Adam Goods, and what that does is allow Harry Taylor to play on Isaac Heaney. Now, we saw Heaney take that mark early. Yeah, absolutely, but they'll want Taylor to be a marking threat and intercept marker.
Motlop had no time to direct the kick where he would have liked. And that suits one of the more experienced Swans defenders in Heath Grundy. Again, they're working just forward of the centre here, the Swans. They've dominated possession so far.
Yeah, it's all at this end, Hutto, isn't it?
Cunningham settles to the square. Goods denied by Kolajasny. Puts a reasonable tackle on to make it more difficult. Tippett, Mitchell. Plenty of appeals, but nothing doing so far. So no score after 2.5 minutes. Swans really pressing though. Tippett took the advantage on Blitzarves, but he handed it to Selwood. Again, it's a rushed exit. This time the Cats had manned up numerically, so they get a chance to break even on the wing. Walker tried to hassle Grundy. Good support from Lang. Coming in to intervene, and if he gets it to the line, it'll be a win. And it is.
They've been able to fly out of the blocks, the Cats. Have a look at that. They've won 12 first quarters out of 16. They're finding it a pretty tough start to this one.
Yeah, Swans really controlling around the ball. Heath Shaw walked a fine line. Reece Shaw walked a fine line. Punched away from Goods by Kolajasny. And here's Heaney. He's looked dangerous early. Kieran Jack was devastating around this area of the ground last week. So the Cats defence working overtime, holding up so far. Kelly forced to get more reinforcements. They're on the back foot. Blitzarves changes that though. Kicks to the wing. It was a guided kick. Fumbled by Stokes. Gets a handball away and Kennedy takes it over.
Just wonder about Stokes coming back in. He's been made to earn his position. Probably felt a little bit more pressure than he was under then. Just by virtue of tracking his last 14 days or so.
Blitzarves turned the body at the right moment. Needed away. Duncan, he needed help. Good touch from Murdoch. Motlop. There's danger all around when he gets it to Selwood. They're just about inside. Mackie quite capable from there. Hawkins on the line. Watches it sail. Blissfully through for a goal.
Well, the old rope-a-dope, Jason. You go in inside forward 54 times at one end for no score. And it's only in there, really, with one kick at the other end for one entrance. And it's a goal. It's kicked from outside. You could argue they still haven't been inside 50. They've gone over it, Hutto.
Come in here, guys.
Pretty pumped, Chris Scott, and a couple of his stars, Selwood and Motlop, have been important so far, and they both combined as part of that goal. Mackie with the big goal, though, from outside 50.
Paid the block.
Blitzars. The Cats' centre clearance numbers have really improved since he's become the #1 ruckman.
That's the umpires have really got to watch that. I'm not saying it was then, but they got to watch that third man blocking, impeding an attempted mark or run at the attempted mark.
Great control by the Swans, used by hand. Lloyd was involved a couple of times. Cockatoo and Jack, a couple of young speedy players for their respective teams, and Brandon Jack should goal from there, and does.
Well, that's exactly the sort of movement we saw from defence to attack from the Swans last week. Through the corridor, through the middle of the ground, using hands. They've got their runners back. I don't know where it had been for 6 or 8 weeks, but it looked fantastic last week. And if they can play this sort of football again, they are going to put enormous pressure on the defensive 6 for the Cats, because they push everyone up and then run back at pace. They run with numbers, and it's very hard to defend when you're running back towards your own goals.
Just his 5th game for the season, Brandon Jack, so really needs to take his opportunity. And up against Nakia Cockatoo, playing just his 7th game of AFL footy, still 18 years of age. So a goal each at Simmons Stadium. The Swans, this man's a prime mover. He certainly was against the Cats in round 7, Parker. And he stayed up longer there, Harry Taylor. Takes the mark, as he so often does.
Well, that was Nan Curvis on that occasion, playing as a tall forward, and you're going to back Harry Taylor more often than not against him.
Well, I guess the stark nature of nobody Franklin on display. Blitzhouse has needed to be busy so far. Tippett puts the head down on the bottom up and comes crashing down. Jack's been instrumental so far to Jetta. Then Curvis makes the lead, and you can see the angles work by Harry Taylor. He's a master. Sets Joel Selwood away. Eventually contains the footy and has to loop the handball. Murdoch had a metre on Jack. Metered it, bangs it up. Smith back with a fly, but it got through to Hawkins. Didn't complete the job and can't release it in any meaningful way until now. A wild handball to Motlop. He flicks it even further out towards the line. Murdoch with a stab for Lang. Darcy Lang, 19-year-old in his first season.
He played quite a bit of footy down here, Josh. As we all did. This pocket, what did you think of kicking out of this pocket?
I found it didn't tend to move as much, because you're normally kicking back into the breeze from that pocket.
Just like that. Darcy Lang puts through Geelong's 2nd goal. He did play 1 game last year, but this is his 17th for the season.
Mind you, you don't really have to worry about the breeze that much when you kick it around the corner, because you know which way the ball's going to bend. But it's good use of the footy, and that's what the Cats have to do tonight. We're seeing so much possession at the other end of the ground, but when they go forward, they're hurting the Swans. They are making the most of the forward forays.
Darcy Lang was at that scrimmage where the ball dropped, and as soon as he saw there was a half chance at moving forward, he skedaddled forward and got on the end of it. He didn't come from the middle of the ground or the forward line.
Blitzars down to Kennedy. You can see Guthrie wearing him close. Got through a couple. Good anticipation. Selwood linked up with Taylor, and now Gregson confronted by Jetta, who was enough to worry him, and it wasn't clean possession, and Gregson in the cut and thrust of it again. It's over and out. Some early thoughts from David King.
Just having a look at the midfield here for the Swans, and they look like they're on top at the moment. You look at the percentage of possession in the midfield, and they are well and truly winning more ball between the arcs, but they're just not cashing in when they're going inside the forward 50. An interesting structure down there with a lot of space, Jason.
Yeah, and it's working well at the moment, isn't it?
Well, it's even working better now as Lloyd takes the mark from the Heaney kick, who's been prominent thus far. Can Jake Lloyd landed from there. 3 goals, 3 for the season. He's in his 17th game for the year. It's a 3-quarter kick. Tried to get Reid on the end of it. He does, but not before it's hit the turf. Jack for his 2nd goal, Brandon, but he misses.
Did well there, Reid. Stood up under that pressure able to dish sideways.
Teams have got to come up with something better than that pulled kick that just hasn't worked. We've seen so much of it in recent times. Opposition teams are aware of it. I can't remember the last time someone pulled a kick like that and it actually went to a teammate that marked it.
There's 18 coaches out there trying to work it out.
Thurlow, and the ball fended away and over the line.
It's a really interesting point, though, Jason. I always found if you could kick the ball and make it peak at the same height a normal 50-55 metre kick did, but you pulled it to drop 20 short, as long as it hit that peak height, it put the backman thinking it was coming longer.
Jetta again involved in a chain for the Swans. Been forced to go right across the ground, as you can see. And so Lloyd picks it up. He looks up. He sees mainly Geelong jumpers. And Mackie playing in front is able to see off Hanbury okay. Has a quick look in the review mirror. And then down the line for Hawkins. Richards.
He's been good early, hasn't he? Ted Richards, a couple of marks, a couple of strong marks. Tom Hawkins not happy there. He got the body spoil into the back of Hawkins early.
A turnover, though, going in Geelong's favour. That was because the kick was missed because of Thurlow's pressure. So, well done by the young lad there.
So 8 inside 50s for just the 1 goal, Sydney. The Cats have only been inside 53 times, but it's produced 2 goals. Quality, not quantity, for the Cats at the moment.
And then Curvis takes the front against Blitzars. Follows up pretty well. There's Guthrie. Lloyd has him captive. The ball jolted out eventually. Wild handball from Duncan. Just gaining territory. Now Bartel. Put out in front of Gregson. He's got a metre on Jack. Time to steady and get a good look at them.
Gee.
He's got some toe, has he? Ran away from Kieran Jack.
Kieran Jack's not slow, and he could not cover. He could not bring down that gap he had when he initially got the footy.
Swans defence work it out solidly and systematically through Richards and now Mitchell, who has Heaney on offer.
That's the critical matchup for me. It's Harry Taylor versus Heaney at the moment. If you can drag him out of the Swans forward 50, this is where opportunity presents.
Adam Goods got it to Reid. He kicks inside 50. Good looking kick. And Bartel couldn't get around then, Curvis.
Good vision from Reid. It's interesting just what Kingy was talking about. Heaney's got to be careful, though, because the last time he went up, Taylor stayed back.
Peeled off.
Yeah, and Curvis went into the ruck. Tippett comes from the ground. You don't want Harry Taylor playing loose behind the footy.
Saw Mr. and Mrs. Heaney down the waterfront today. Lovely couple. They said, be nice to our boy.
They're surfers, are they, do?
There's a down the waterfront, down in Geelong, Steam Packet Gardens, Jason.
There's a blood rule here.
I think the Swans are aware of that tactic, though, boys. They're trying to find Heaney every time Taylor lays off 4 or 5 metres, looking to get back to intercept mark. They're honouring his lead, and I think it's a good tactic.
That lad can seriously play, can't he? And there's a bit of clarity.
Oh, yeah. And Toby Nankervis, a 20-year-old, just his 5th game. Kicked a goal on debut, but none since.
He hasn't exactly got the fluent run-up. He's, in bowling terms, he's not Dennis Lilly.
And that's not going to really threaten from there. But it's not done with yet. Jack. Mitchell turns on the left all too easily and screws it back beautifully for a goal. Scores level.
One thing we do know about Tom Mitchell, he loves a goal. He doesn't mind having a ping, and he knows how to find the footy as well. It's a big matchup. He started alongside Joel Selwood at the first bounce, and he's been matching up on him at a lot of the stoppages. This is a good way to get back a little bit of your own. You could see Selwood trailing him there in the pocket. Selwood had to go and tackle the man with the ball, so it's not his fault. But none of his teammates came over to take care of Mitchell.
The snap was the right option.
It was.
There's nothing better.
So scores level, and at last some reward for the Swans. 9 inside 50s to 4. We've just about reached the midpoint of the opening term. Walker got the timing all wrong. Caddy, who's been so influential in Geelong's improvement over the past month.
See Bartel just running behind the umpire there. Came in off the wing. Not exactly your winger type. We'll just get into the centre of this.
Selwood and Mitchell again involved in the scrap. Caddy. There was no elbow room in there for anyone. Walker, it's like a tug of war.
It's a good fight. Jimmy Bartel. Yeah, Jetta's had a bit of the footy. 6 possessions already. We know he's their go-to man to kick the ball somewhere between the 2 arcs and deliver inside 50.
High ball, Kelly. Motlop.
Gee, made good ground there. Good pace. Stokesy thought I might get a cheapie here, Jason. A little grab on the arm here. Yep. Laidler.
Josh Caddy, unusually quiet early, hasn't touched the ball yet. Normally finds plenty of it.
I get a feeling Josh Caddy's actually been given a run with roll rather than finding the ball himself.
Motlop sets it up. Can anyone get a decent run and jump? All the Swans. It's there for Lang. He's just got to get a show to it, but he couldn't.
That is a let-off for the Swans. Everyone went up, no one down, no one sweeping around the back.
Read it well, young Lang, didn't he? Just ran out of oval.
Brandon Jack off half back. As the Swans look to transition the ball as quickly as they can, but Cats have got most of the bases covered. Jetta is the next point of call as they try and work around the defensive zone. Here's Reid with a good, strong lead. Good presentation up on the wing.
Jetta's making problems. That type of kick, 9 out of 10 league footballers can't hit it that well. So to give it that sort of benefit by foot, that's making problems.
You wrote an article in yesterday's paper on Sam Reid, in today's paper, in fact. Was it today's or yesterday's?
Yeah, yesterday's.
He's back playing with some confidence, though, isn't he?
Yeah.
He's such an important player for Sydney.
Yeah, well, he's the third or fourth wheel now that probably at this stage of his development needs some onus, needs some responsibility. Franklin out, tip it into the ruck because of ruck shortages, and he starts to get that onus again that he had in 2012.
Started well here with a couple of marks, 3 early possessions.
Kolodjasny found Motlop, and then it breaks down for Geelong, who just got away from Thurlow.
And you'd be so well aware too, Jason, that around the age of 21 to about 25, you learn as a key forward from trial and error. So he's almost missing out to this stage till tonight on some valuable time up forward.
Kennedy fierce out of the stoppage. Heaney and Caddy. He held him at bay there, Caddy, successfully. Cockatoo, Adam Goods, going hammer and tong at it. Jenner wanted to get it to Goods. Kolodjasny, the young man against the oldest out there, and the young fella wins out. Enlists some help from some experience from Mackie, who bombs away to the wing. Richards made the play on Hawkins, but he knew what he was doing. Got it for Stokes, who wants desperately to share it. Kicks it around the corner, challenging, and Lang is up to the challenge. Motlop one out inside 50 with Cunningham. The ball never arrives, and the Swans steady off half back. Mitchell able to work it.
Well done, Mitch Duncan. Read that like the forward.
Got across for the intercept, and now Thurlow. Cats wanted to use the corridor, but being denied by the Swans.
They've got Blitzarves deep forward, and Hanbury's picking him up at the moment. You'd kind of think they'd kick that to a one-on-one contest in the air, and you'd back Blitzarves all day.
So a couple of breakdowns there for Geelong, whose ball use up until now has been pretty reasonable. Geelong 2-2, Sydney 2-1, tight opening term from Simmons Stadium. Tippett. This is where Sydney look dangerous around the stoppages. Lloyd bangs away again. Again, Goods is denied, and Kelly steams away. He's got Duncan, but Jenner's enough to scare anyone. And his handball is a very good handball.
He's made a beeline for it.
Does he get away with it? Yep.
He did get a handball. He got a rocket one towards the boundary. They've been stiffed there, the Swans. He knew exactly what he was doing.
Well, Dan, we spoke about Caddy earlier. At the moment, he's going to Josh Kennedy. Josh Kennedy's had 6 possessions. Caddy the one. It's a big ask.
Thurlow was able to wade his way through and kick forward. Now again, Grundy on the job. Lang couldn't stop him. Parker slipping, but regaining his balance and composure. Cunningham under hot pressure, but again able to stand up to it. Brandon Jack. A low bullet for Hanbury at centre half forward. No one back in the square. Will he go for Heaney? He's one-on-one with Cockatoo. 2 young fellas. Cockatoo looks worried. He really didn't know what to do.
No, and that's because it's an unfamiliar part of the ground, Hutto. He's a young man making his way in the game. He's electric, he's exciting, he's got skills. But he found himself at fullback in a one-on-one, caught underneath the footy. And even though Heaney's just a youngster himself, this is the part of the ground that he plays in, and he did it beautifully, just worked him under the footy.
He seems to be, even though Heaney's only, well, tonight makes him an 8-game veteran, he's very accomplished in the air.
So Heaney to give the Swans the lead, which he does. Such a talented young man. So 3-1-19, the Swans deserving their 5-point lead over the Cats. Down to David King. King, what have you made of the reaction to Adam Goodes so far from the crowd tonight?
Well, so far there's been a couple of murmurings, Hunter, but nothing really to speak about, nothing of any great note. I think that he's been working hard at him. He's only had the one disposal so far, so there hasn't been a great guide. I think his first set shot at goal will learn more.
Margin 5.
One thing I noticed out in the ground when I saw on paper Kolodjasny going to him, and I didn't realise the lad's a big kid, isn't he? You think of him as a mobile, running, lithe type half-back, but he's a great big size of a kid.
Enright had to handball and hope more than anything. These midfielders of the Swans are looking really threatening right now. Grundy takes it out to the wing. Thurlow!
He's had a good start, this boy. Not huge numbers, but everything he's done has been pretty good.
Caddy thumps it in the Hawkins direction. Walker there, stayed off to let Hawkins have a genuine one-on-one go at it with Richards, who won the day again. Kennedy pushing the line. Gregson can't squirm his way out of there.
Gee, that was good by Teddy.
I was about to say, you talk about good starts. Richards, this is the Thurlow mark, which is an absolute beauty. Richards got his pants pulled down by Tex Walker last week. He's back with a vengeance thus far against one of the biggest in the competition in Tom Hawkins.
Here's Thurlow again. Now Parker's come off the bench, which the Cats didn't anticipate there, but Thurlow and Lonergan hoping to sort this out. Being forced onto the back foot even further. Tough for Enright. He knew where the boundary was and wasn't taking any chances.
One thing I'm noticing by the Sydney Swans, Kingy, is the pressure in the face. They've smothered half a dozen handballs of Geelong so far already.
Forced them into 16 turnovers. Inside 50s of 13-5 at the moment. Cats are doing well just to hang in this whilst they've lost momentum.
Rampy got a shove against Motlop.
Push out. That's a little selfish.
Jetta to centre half forward. Goodes gets a nudge from Kolodjasny.
He's a brute of a kid, isn't he? This is really surprising.
I think the Cats have been delighted with his development so far.
193 centimetres and 93 kilos. Well, that's a danger.
They handed it to Adam Goodes. Brilliant intercept from Goodes. And everyone has to cheer that. Sydney lead by 11. Adam Goodes with the intercept and the goal.
Had to be a good kick there. Had to get there really fast through the air, Jason. If it wasn't, someone like Adam, Kolodjasny took the mark, body contact, unsettled him, came back. This had to spear, absolutely spear through the air to his teammate. Doesn't from Guthrie. And Goodes picks it off. That's like shelling peas for him in the end.
Yeah, I think Harry Taylor was hoping the ball was going to come to him and didn't quite go at it perhaps as hard as he could have. Adam Goodes good enough to pick it off after. It was really good body work from Kolodjasny to start with.
So the margin out to 11. It's looking dangerous. Into Joel Selwood, who kicks the Cats forward, but Nick Smith making the play. They are making the running, not just up the ground, but their defenders are really taking the initiative, the Swans. Made it hard for themselves here, though. Stokes tries to latch on Shaw. Oh, he didn't do any favours for Mitchell. How's the umpire going to read it?
He's gone. He got a sighter on the tackler and wrapped himself up to
Quick
protect.
Kick, Caddy. Great chance for Hawkins.
Yeah, Tom Mitchell just froze a little bit then. That's what the umpire saw. He saw the tackler coming and protected himself up, wrapped himself up, absorbed the tackle. And that's more than enough prior opportunity in the eyes of the umpire. Good lead. Great kick.
So Tom Hawkins, 32 goals, 16 for the year. It's his 50th game here at Skilled Stadium. He's kicked 96 goals in those games.
I'm just thinking when he's leading out there and he's going for the chest mark, full-backs might be able to vote on this. There wouldn't be too many backs that have been wider than Tom Hawkins in the history of our game.
So now it's about conversion. Oh, we'd like that one again, because Geelong really needed a goal.
I can remember running laps behind Plugger at state training, Jason, and the first thing that struck me is the width of his back.
He was the name that came to mind when you were talking about Tomahawk.
The width of Tomahawk's back, the width of Plugger's back. It's little wonder they're so good. They're just freaks in size.
Grundy's kick to the wing, and again the Swans getting a first look at it. Jack gets a little bit of protection. You better watch out though, because Tommy's coming.
Yeah, he's still upset after missing that last set shot, Tom Hawkins, and he wants to take issue with all and sundry at the moment.
Not happy with
he is
Dane
frustrated.
Rampy, was he?
Yeah, I wouldn't be getting too lippy.
Brandon Jack's had 4 score involvements. The Swans,
job.
oh, there he is again, Colin Jasny. Just his 5th game of AFL football.
Kingy, he's in front of you. He's no flanker.
No, he's the biggest flanker I've ever seen. He's got a side and now he's got his eye, and he's just going to do this all night. He's just going to go for his grabs. It's the Geelong way at half-back, isn't it?
He's got 4 possessions and 3 marks, Colin Jasny, already.
Cats defence looking very vulnerable right now. Into the middle, Enright rolls the dice. Mackie had to grit the teeth, Mark, and he turned defence into attack. Or did he? Eventually, Gregson got the handball through to Caddy. It's scrappy again. It's tough down forward. Blitzars and Nankervis were there first. Cunningham, that's a long handball for a behind. There's appeals everywhere, but that rule has basically been abandoned from what we've seen.
Well, he did have a player there that I think he missed. Whether he deliberately missed him or not is the question. But
Of course he deliberately missed him, but he did have the target there who probably gave the footy the ole.
again,
Parker, what a lead.
Again, though, we saw Blitzarves forward and he had Nankervis as a defender at fullback. They've got to isolate that contest and get some benefit out of it.
Instead, it's to Hawkins versus the rest. Walker. Hawkins goes again. Still burning with a bit of anger from before. Gregson flicks it out wide. Stokes, he's kicked them from here before. Doesn't try this time. There's some hanging on there. It's a goal anyway. Darcy Lang.
One
has kicked
area,
his second.
Hutto, I'm looking at in Geelong's forward line is that, fair enough, Nick Smith is a wonderful backman and he's going with Darcy Lang at the moment. He's a great small backman. But elsewhere, Geelong have too many crumbing players for Sydney's backline. If Hawkins can bring the ball to ground, same with Walker, they've got some crumbing weaponry up there.
So as we get closer to quarter time, given the disparity of inside 50s and even total use of the footy, almost 20 more disposals Sydney and 5 more inside 50s, Geelong would be pretty happy with only a 3-point margin, I suspect. They might have time to build on it some more. Enright to half forward. Walker overran it and got through to the back, but that's where the Swans defence can go to work. Lloyd, been prominent so far.
Ran a long way. Yeah.
So I'm looking at this, Hutto. Laidler, Rampy, Richards, Grundy. None of them are good on the ground. And there's arguably 4 crumbing players in the Geelong forward line. If they can get it in there quickly and the ball spills to the deck, they're going to create a little bit of havoc for the ground ball.
Joel Selwood in game 200. His 9th disposal, not one of his best.
Good man.
He's still frustrated, Big Tom Hawk. He's not a happy man throwing his weight around.
He looked like Dusty Rhodes from WWF, the way he went down.
Oh, and then held the face.
Yes.
Oh, no.
Oh, he's going to get managed by Mean Gene.
A fairly modest 50-metre penalty handed out by the umpire.
You might have seen it up on the replay.
Grundy kicks to half forward. And Lonigan's going to escort it over for the Cats. So
Just
30
have a
seconds
look at how
remaining.
they're
Sorry,
scoring, Hutto, and you can see that Sydney have scored 3 of their 4 goals, counter-punching out their defensive half. That's correctable for Geelong. So to be within 3 points at what is going to be quarter time, I think is a pretty big effort, given the midfield dominance of the Swans.
You're right, Kingy, but I think there's some massive worries for Sydney as well, because Geelong have been inside 50 10 times. They've scored 7 times out of the 10. That's an enormously successful percentage.
Nankervis in that one-on-one again with Taylor. He'll almost get the job done for the Cats, or was that deliberate?
One thing is noticeable too, if Geelong get within 12 in contested possessions, anywhere within 12, they tend to win their games. They're only -3 for the quarter, so they're sort of on target to be right in the hunt on that estimation.
So the siren sounds. Opening quarter. Adam Goods has returned to AFL footy. He's kicked a great goal. There's been a minor murmur or so in the crowd, but that's about it. There's plenty in this game, though. And the Swans with that narrow lead. Joel Selwood in game 200 and Adam Goodes returning to AFL footy. This game's had a fair bit already in the opening term, and Adam Goodes certainly played his part with a big intercept and put it through 4-1-25 to 3-4-22. The Swans in front, they've had a lot more of the ball, but the lead is slender. Jason Dunstall and Dermot Brereton. How have you read Adam Goodes' performance and the reaction to him so far?
Performance-wise, I thought he's just a touch tentative. That forced him to go for it, that goal, but just a touch tentative when he's actually trying to win the ball in the air.
He's only had the 2 possessions, and he's kicked 1 goal. Now, opposition fans don't like it when the team they don't barrack for kicks a goal, so there's a few little murmurs, but I think the reception personally has been pretty good for him.
Yep.
And look, we probably will get a better guide the more touches he gets as the game progresses. But it's been a good start to the game, an exciting contest, and he's probably just relishing, I think, being back in the fold of playing footy and maybe trying to put some of this stuff behind him.
All right, well, it's a terrific contest. As we said, just 3 points the difference. Who have been some of the more influential players, do you think, so far, Kingy? Might get... Okay, we'll get down to David. We might try again if Kingy's ready for us downstairs to talk about some of the more influential players in that first term, Kingy. No? In fact,
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9.
There he is,
He
he's
can count.
counting. The gremlins are in the system there. Sorry about that, King. We'll get to you very, very shortly. Look, I thought Jetta was very damaging for the first 15 minutes or so, Jason. You know Kennedy's going to go to the footy and win it, but also J.D. Lloyd in the forward half of the ground, 10 uncontested possessions.
Yeah, and Selwood 9 for the Cats. Mackie, Motlop and Thurlow each had 8.
With Jetta, it was Jordan Murdoch. He got away from Murdoch a little too easy early on in that quarter. That's where the game could be won or lost, given that they're going fairly small in their forward line and will out-crumb Sydney. It's about Tom Hawkins and how much he can bring to ground to advantage.
we're underway in the second term from Simmons Stadium. Guthrie with a handball. Blitzar's had a quick look around, scouted what was there.
Nice.
He chooses Duncan, who's able to use Kelly. Motlop, you could see him arrive on the scene. They wanted to get the ball into his hands. Now they have. Wide out at half forward. Angled the kick sharply. Made it tough for Gregson.
Oh, well read by Mackie.
Mackie's hands were terrific, weren't they? The Swans try and keep the Cats at bay, but fail the first time. But try and squash the next effort. Almost handed over by Laidler to Tippett. Caddy won the fight. Came out with the footy. Gave it back to Selwood. And now Mackie, a couple of little fumbles, ball getting a bit greasy. Bartel took 3 Swans with him. They've been forced all the way back to the centre.
No clean hands. First person to grab it cleanly, Hutto, they're forward.
Yeah, some more reinforcements arrive. Taylor, a handball, not necessarily to the advantage of Mackie, and it's getting scratchy for the Cats. Bartel didn't like what he saw over there, so he goes short to Guthrie. Just the give straight away to Mackie. It's the Geelong way. But he needed some composure, and it was provided. Quick kick in from Bartel. Lovely spoil to get it away there from Laidler. Enright to Lang. There's not a lot of margin for either team here as far as errors are concerned. Walker hasn't been able to see much joy so far.
Did well.
Bartel to ground. No free kick. Blitzarves uses his athleticism and his left foot. What a kick. And Duncan is happy to oblige.
Well, Mitch Duncan went down and positioned himself in the pocket after the original clearance in the middle of the ground. He was there for an eternity.
A long time.
An eternity. No one bothered to push down for the Swans. A lot of their midfielders caught further up around the 50-metre arc. I think that'd disappoint John Longmire.
When we had that chain of fumbled football, unclean footy, he actually camped on that side of the ground by himself.
Well, Mitch Duncan, who went down in that match in round 7 against the Swans, has been a very welcome return player in the last month for the Cats. Puts them in front.
He's such an offensive player. He's capable of running forward into space. There he is at the top of screen there. Now see, Tippett comes
covered
away.
him early, and then Tippett started ball watching and following the ball again. Nobody else went.
And now Tippett saying, whoa, I need him. And didn't quite get there. This is good. Takes it on Blitzarves, uses the pace. I'm all for using the natural attributes you have, and Blitzarves dug in for 4 or 5 paces there on his blistering pace off the mark.
We'll get those thoughts from David King in just a moment. The Cats winning the contested possession by 7, which is a big win for them. Kingy, let's get down to you.
It's a huge win for them, Hutto, and look at the influential players out there. I think when the half-back line of the Cats are in form, you're talking about Mackie, you're talking about Kalajasny tonight, it changes the whole dynamics of how they want to play.
Gee, that was brilliant by Blitzars. Knew when to go, and just as importantly, knew when not to go, which is part of the skills of being the modern ruckman. Kelly takes them in. Here's Caddy with a bullocking run. Rampy wants him and the ball, and he got the ball and won it point blank. Well played, Dane Rampy. And the Swans are able to defy the Cats this time.
There's too many behind the ball.
Yep, so nowhere to go.
Sorry, Kingy, you about to chip in?
No, I was just saying this is better by the Cats. They've been able to slow down the counter-punch of the Swans here. As we said before, 3 of their 4 goals have come from their defensive 50.
It's a wild kick from Lloyd. Mackie, he sums things up beautifully there to Lonigan. Motlop didn't like the menu as the offerings and goes all the way back.
Blitzarves is really running Tippett ragged.
Oh, that was not the ideal kick. Blitzarves actually was pointing to pass it to his teammate Guthrie, but anyway, it ends okay. Guthrie, Kalajasny. Space was cleared for him. He didn't use the time that he had, but it gets back to the middle. Now, big contest here. Swans, yeah, got numbers to the ball pretty effectively in the back.
Now, Derm, you spoke to the coaches pre-game, and Chris Scott made the point of it's a different type of ruckman for Kurt Tippett to play against, isn't it? I wonder whether they can't use Nankervis as more of a workhorse and say just do the work as much as you can on Blitzarves and perhaps get something out of Tippett forward.
Parker contained. Selwood, Bartel got rid of us just as soon as he picked it up. Motlop uses his pace to get clear of Kennedy. Richards leaves Hawkins again and was able to intervene. Shaw, Mitchell, low ball, challenging for Jack. Ooh, that's pushing it from Jimmy. Jack not waiting for any further assistance. Kennedy made it tough for Thurlow. He made it even tougher. Guthrie was almost too high, but as Derm said, maybe the duck of the head.
He wasn't expecting the handball in the first place.
He was down, but then he put the head down a second time.
Selwood gets the instructions to kick it swiftly, which he does. He read the play well. Mackie to half forward. Stokes got McVeigh. Does he take him on? He half did, goes for Hawkins. It's downfield.
Oh, how is that downfield?
Oh, did he get the ball away clean? You can't play on, Tommy!
The umpire paid the advantage, and then he withdraws it when Tommy stopped.
I thought McVeigh tagged him as he was kicking the ball.
But the ball got away cleanly, so you would have to surmise from that.
The downfield free kick.
Yeah, he was in the action. He did get it away cleanly.
Split second.
Is that Jared McVeigh? Oh,
come on, I've dumped him, have I?
That is harsh, really, isn't it?
It is pretty stiff.
Yeah. Hold there.
Gee.
Yeah, go to him.
I tell you what, though,
Don't push out, though.
at the other end,
Josh,
he missed
push
to
out.
his right-hand side.
15 gone.
So it's as if he sliced the ball a little bit. So now he'll be saying, do I aim a little left to counter for that?
This for 3 in a row for Geelong. Straight through.
Good kick.
With great authority from Hawkins. You could feel the nervousness in the crowd as he came in to kick.
Yes. They're playing some good footy at the moment. Contested possessions. Geelong 53, Sydney 43. Yeah, I'm with you now, Jason, on reflection of that. A little bit eager, that call for a late tackle on him after the ball's been kicked.
Chris Scott can't believe it either.
Here. Go the ball, guys.
Down to you, Kingy.
I think Andrew Mackey's the most influential player out there at the moment. 256 metres gained, where 600 is generally an excellent performance. 12 disposals, going at almost 90% effective.
Selwood read it perfectly, but didn't take the ball with him. Duncan lends a hand, and the Cats moving forward again through Enright. Probing ball. Caddy comes late. There he is, still standing. Stokes crashed the pack. Well done, Richards. Didn't do a lot of favours with the handball, though. It comes to Hawkins. Workman-like kick. Shaw gets it all together when he needed to. takes the mark and finds Lloyd.
Lloyd's finding plenty of it. Possession number 12 coming up for him. That's the most for the Swans, and that'll be equal with Selwood and Mackie on the ground.
Play on.
Down the line. Heaney comes late, and his timing was superb.
So Tippett playing deep forward, and now Taylor goes on to him.
Cats with the last 3 goals of the game to take a 9-point advantage. Heaney driving kick. Reid, here's Tippett. Tried to crash the pack. Caddy for Taylor. Now he's gone to ground. He realised he had to handball it out. And it's over. Lloyd, as Jason said, equal most disposals on the game with 12. Selwood and Mackie also the same number. Motlop 11. Blitzars. Mitchell fighting a bit of a lone battle there for the Swans against 3 or 4 Cats. Hanbury eventually came to his aid. Now McVeigh joins the fray.
Swans have got 1 extra at the footy. The Cats drop 1 back off the ball. That's Mackie who's the extra to the right-hand side of screen. Goods is going to try and round him up a bit now. He'll wander over, just split the difference so he can reach him on a quick play.
Great work out of the stoppage by the Cats. Enright comes up to a familiar position. Kicks a calculated ball for Selwood. The umpire would seem reluctant to actually pay that free, but eventually he did.
It's a good free kick to give away. I mean, it stops play, otherwise it's going in there at express pace.
Just a hand in the back in the end.
It's a free kick all day long.
Jake, hold there.
Enright.
Move it on.
Hawkins standing about 40 from goal. Walker's back in the square.
Thanks, Reese.
And Blitzharv's also in the forward 50. That's a terrible kick, absolutely butchered. And now the Swans can go to work through the middle. They're on the stampede through the middle, and it's Adam Goods. The invitation's there. And what a kick from Adam Goods. It's not going to make it, though. The finest of lines. Harry Taylor.
That looked like Adam Goods as a 25-year-old. He just tucked it under the arm and exploded with speed.
That might be keeping it going for a couple more years and just playing once every 3 weeks, Jason.
Yeah, it looked good.
Yeah, a turn of pace.
Well, the Cats really dodged one there because they...
The other thing was they had Jetta running down the far flank who was getting dangerous at the same time.
Murdoch got it to Duncan, to Motlop. They love to have the footy in his hands. Reid with some issues here. 3 Geelong players to deal with. They haven't got through yet. Stokes gets it out to Hawkins. He basically threw that out to Caddy, to Bartel, to full forward. They back into it here. One-on-one battle. Grundy. It's Thurlow chasing. He created the contest. Grundy fights them all off.
Well done.
A one-man war. Well done by Heath Grundy to Rampy. It's a spearing kick to half-back. And they're at it again, the Swans. Jack. And now Jetta is going to sprint back into the 50. Can Tippett find him? He does, but
he went the wrong way, Jetta. He had to go back towards goal and get it over the top.
Murdoch wins that conclusively and is not rewarded.
I'm with you, Jason. Play to your strengths. And he had nothing but cut grass between him when he was 45 out and the goal square. Demand it be put into space and use your pace.
Blitzharv smacked that down, but didn't go to the Cats' advantage. Instead to full forward. A hard one to handle from Nankervis. Mackie, here's Kolajasny. Enright, just that steadying influence. And again, they're bolting. This is what Cockatoo can do. He can run and bounce. The cupboard was bare a little bit. He's worked that well. He's given Hawkins a run at it. Richards will defy him. He's been doing it all night. It's a fantastic duel down there, which Richards has the honour at the moment. And now Mitchell comes away to Smith. Great combination from the Swans through the middle. Nankervis on the end of it.
Hanbury's struggling to get hands on the footy. Only 6 possessions to this point in time.
Tippett is deep one-on-one with Taylor. The kick, though, the faith is in Adam Goods. He leaps no free.
Good
Tippett back to Jetta. Jetta can use the pace to get himself free. And he converts. It's back to 2 points.
The crumbing men at both ends are making danger. At Geelong's end, they're crumbing it, but they're just meeting a bit of resistance in terms of pressure. This is Yeah, beautifully done. Well done by the big fella, just palming it out in front there for the easy crumb. It's like shelling peas again. That's a standard kick.
Steady, Jimmy.
Thurlow backed in to the forward line down here. Oh, I thought it was in the marking contest. So this is on the tackle. Gee, look at that and think Ted's going to be sore out of that.
Cats winning the contested possessions for the match and for this quarter, as we saw, but the Swans have just grabbed the momentum through this man. Jetta bombs away. And he's just astray.
He doesn't always hit the target, but he's got a leg on him, hasn't he? And
Yeah.
it just looks so effortless, a 60-metre drop punt.
There's Thurlow on the boundary. Will he get one in the eye?
I reckon he's slammed his face into Ted Rich's back.
Exactly right, Jace. He's just rubbing that eye. Looks like he'll have a nice little shiner tomorrow. He'll be fine.
That's well played by Ruckman.
2 metres. 1 more metre.
Litthouse takes the mark. So we're at the halfway point of this second term.
Play on.
He could just take it away.
Off the left foot.
Go for a little run, Jason.
Walker finding it harder to take those contested marks tonight.
Ambitious Grundy trying to claim the mark there.
Yeah. Caddy just got the hands free enough. Smith to Kennedy, given some latitude. Lloyd took them on, and that's going to be penalised.
Doesn't have quite the same body strength as the Josh Kennedy.
But he got turned, not a full circle, got hold in the ball. Kennedy got turned and did a full 360.
But probably wasn't as well restrained to him, I don't think, maybe.
So time in the tackle, though? Is it?
Well, fullness of tackle, I don't know. It's those many grey areas in our game and the interpretation. Motlop. Kennedy down the line. Hawkins didn't have a one-on-one. He actually told them to kick to just there. That's Lonigan in the forward line as players getting redeployed. Kennedy escapes the clutches of Walker and away for Rampy.
Well, Colin Jasney's doing such a good job on Goods. You can almost afford to throw Lonigan forward because Reid is pressing so far up the field.
Both teams just testing the other to be solid defensively. As soon as there's one player slips free of the noose, they use them instantly. This has been a real arm wrestle, this defensively, from both midfields in particular.
So there you go. That's Reid, who's key forward, who's just marked it on the back flank. Now he'll stream forward.
It's a telling kick from McVeigh. Gives Tippett every chance. He's got a free.
See, I just think he looks more dangerous forward tonight, Tippett. He dominated in the ruck last week. He's posing problems up forward, not marking the ball, but playing in front, using his body. We saw him palm one down, which resulted in a Jetta goal a few moments ago. And now his size produces a free kick in the forward 50. He needs to go back and kick this.
Next time. Job.
Just a little wrap around under the arms, perhaps. So the Swans can take the lead here through Kurt Tippett. Yet to score tonight. Now he has. Right through the middle. Crowd silent. Swans back in front.
Not sure it was the most blatant free kick I've ever seen. We see plenty of these go week in, week out, but the umpire felt that Taylor had a hold of his left arm and wasn't allowing him to put it up. It's fair enough, as long as they're consistent. But we have seen plenty of those let go, haven't we, Dean?
Well, they got cooked at the other end for a down the field against McVeigh. That works out even.
5 years at Adelaide, 104 games, in his third year at Sydney, his 43rd game, and he kicks the goal that gives the Swans back the lead, an advantage of 5. He's in the ruck, Tippett now, getting the tap down. Walker trying to find Duncan, but Tippett has the last say. Mitchell with the actual clearance. Taylor doing what he does best. Coasting in from the side, takes the mark and looks quickly through what's ahead.
And that right there is the product of what happens when Nankervis comes off, Tippett goes into the ruck, Taylor takes a mark in defence.
Well, he was the only man of any real size in the contest, Grundy.
Right there. Play on
Took the mark. Shaw. Down the line for Goods. And just ducks around Kolodjasny. He kicked it to the invisible man, though.
Well, he threw the hands up after the kick. I hope it was at himself, because he can't blame his teammates for not leading to where he kicked it.
That's touched.
Well, Selwood's given it straight back.
They're pressing up pretty well here, the Swans.
Well, it's a flooded 50, but the Swans had two players who could have got hands to it. Cockatoo, he realised he was in all sorts of trouble. The handwork was pretty smart by Geelong. Can they get out? Kolajasny right back to the goal square. And the pressure on Lonigan, but he's been through a fair bit in his career. Stands up and kicks, tries to clear 50, can't do it though, and Cunningham is there to fill the space and take the mark. Grundy calling for at the top of the arc, and that's where he heads.
Just got their mojo happening here, the Swans, at the moment. They're pressing up, they're denying the opportunity to Geelong.
Sam Reid, got it!
Oh, he had it and dropped it.
It's a goal anyway. Or is it?
Luke Parker off the deck. I think we're going to have a goal review.
I think it's a goal.
I believe it's a goal. I just want to check there wasn't touched by the defender.
You're right, Hutto. He thinks it's a goal.
Score review. Umpire's call is a goal. Please check. Ball is touched.
Sorry, old mate.
Review underway.
Behind the fence, we don't take your call.
Yeah,
that's a goal.
It's another one that hasn't had a huge night thus far, Luke Parker, but we know he can hit the scoreboard.
Just might go down to David King now. The last couple of minutes, Sydney Swans' game style has looked very, very comfortable.
They're enjoying this term. They really enjoy one-on-one football, test the opposition. As soon as they get defensively lazy, they challenge them to man up every man on the field, particularly through the mid-zones, and drive the ball in deep. Their forward 50 looks like they're under control with the Cat defenders, but their ground ball, as you touched on earlier, is where the threat really lies.
So back in the centre, Cats kicked 3 in a row, and the Swans have now counted with 3 of their own.
Well, the stats are all starting to look very, very similar. There's not a great discrepancy in any of the areas.
That's a really good kick from Selwood. It puts Taylor in a position where he can almost think about a shot. He goes instead for the big man down there, Blitzars, but it got past him and onto the big chest of Tom Hawkins.
Well, that's the first time I think someone's actually looked for Blitzars in the forward 50. That's where the kick was meant to go.
You see it, the centre bounce, and once again, Kingy, draw you in on this. Blitzars took off, and it was Josh Kennedy who had to chase him, which takes away Kennedy from where the ball actually is and is actually going, because he's one of their best ball winners. If he's see, there he is, right in the thick of it there. He should be at the ball, but the Sydney Swans ruckman can't chase him.
One bag of 5 this year and one lot of 4 goals for Tom Hawkins. That's for number 2. And that won the Cats sorely needed. John Longmire showing his normal amount of emotion there.
Yeah, tactical game, isn't it? We've got strengths and weaknesses on both teams. This is well done by Harry. Just didn't rush at it. It's very easy to get nervous and charge at that footy.
That's exactly where they like to kick the ball, the top of the goal square there, and challenge the defenders of the Swans to do the job on Walker or Blitzars or Hawkins, whoever's down there. That's where they're so strong. They're big boys.
I find this interesting, the centre bounce. I mean, while that goal was kicked, Tippett came onto the ground, but Tippett's gone forward, Nankervis has gone forward, and Sam Reid's in the ruck. That, to me, defeats the purpose of having 2 ruckmen in the team.
Beautiful centre bounce, and Blitzar's able to get Guthrie, who improvised with a little mini kick. Kennedy got another tour of the stadium. Kicks at the centre half forward. Kolajasny, Kelly. The counter comes from McVeigh and Tippett. Gee, it's a good contest, isn't it? As you said, very tactical, a lot of manoeuvring by both coaches. Using the strengths, trying to probe the weaknesses of the opposition. Blitzar's been pivotal in the ruck. Nankervis gets upended. The umpire decided to let them play a little longer.
See, Kelly literally threw the leg over to make sure that he laid the tackle correctly, and the opponent couldn't wriggle away from him. He threw his left leg over him. Scissor lock.
That's breaking. Kolajasny. Swans appealing for deliberate.
He's got a mind to pay it too, the umpire.
Yeah, he's going to
see the way he was running after the ball, but he looked like he was going to pay that.
Yeah, it's got to be consistent.
Yes, there was no one in the area whatsoever. That's the main thought.
Well, it certainly gave the crowd something to boo about, Hutto.
It did. Mitchell.
So narrow the wings here. I'm surprised not more deliberates are paid in the middle of the ground.
We often see a lot of out on the falls here, don't we? Particularly from opposition teams.
That's a good fight.
It's a good tackle from Big Nankervis.
It was.
Nankervis, a famous name, of course, down here with Ian and Bruce Nankervis, both stars of the 70s in particular. Both club captains. And the ball goes over the line and out of bounds.
Just watching Mitchell there, 6, go to Selwood. Just very much he attempts to stay at him. Once the ball gets tossed in now, runs away from him.
Kieran Jack loose at the stoppage.
And almost took it with him. Guthrie.
And that allows Geelong to get a loose behind the footy.
What a scrap it is on the inside tonight. Some really tough players in there. The Swans, as we know, so much talent in that area. Selwood and Caddy carrying a big load for Geelong. McVeigh gets them in. Heaney kept on his feet, and that was enough to give him the advantage. He doesn't capitalise fully.
He's exciting talent, though, isn't he? Just the way he trapped that and then found a bit of space. He's disappointed he didn't convert with the snap around the corner.
Just missed by 1 inch. I reckon he's 1 inch off the side of the ball.
Too close to the middle of the ball.
Yeah, it just needs to be closer to the end, and he hits that perfectly.
Went for Guthrie. Stokes, the little give.
In the back.
The advantage was questionable, so it comes back to Stokes. Oh, he gets a lot of air on the kick. And Adam Goods is onto it. Was thinking about Hanbury, instead goes for Reid. Well done, Mackie.
It's a couple of poor kicks from Adam Goods going forward.
Well, he got the gift, he gave it back.
So Jimmy Bartell. He's had plenty of footy since he's returned from injury. Just the 10 disposals tonight has been okay. Hawkins tries to work through. Shaw flipped it up. Oh, Rampy. You can see what he was doing. He threw it, though. Not sure that he actually did throw that, but that was the umpire's reading on it.
Do you like the big tomahawk when he put the stops into the ground? They're not made to stop 120 kilos.
The bluff was brilliant from Murdoch. The kick, though, nowhere near as good. And Hanbury. He's had a hard time winning the footy tonight. Just 7 disposals from Dan Hanbury. He's averaging almost 31 disposals a game this year.
Really
Nankervis has got loose, but botches it, made a real meal of it. And now Caddy and Kelly and Bartell. Stokes gets involved as well. Murdoch off that left to a genuine one-on-one on the wing. Lang held his ground. The help came from Lonergan. Lang again. Well done, Jetto. It was really good pressure. That was almost a throw from Lonergan on the counter. There's Swans everywhere. Heaney, brilliant.
Oh.
Absolutely brilliant from the young man.
He is clever.
Goods thinks about it. Instead goes for Reid. Put plenty of space. It was a fantastic kick. The advantage of Reid.
Did his best to drop it, didn't he?
Oh, it's just got really greasy down here, Jace. It's really difficult for the players to mark this ball at the moment. The conditions are really quite awkward for them.
I was just going to say, Nankervis dropped a sitter a moment ago. It was interesting he went for his hand, which is encouraging. He's got confidence, but if it is greasy, he probably should have swallowed it on the chest.
So Sam Reid, 7 goals, 8 for the season. And his kicking has always been just a little bit of a concern. Swans lead by 7. Late in this second quarter. Doing it hard here, the Cats from defence. Enright locked away in the back pocket. Minimal options, so it's just down the line she goes. Blitzars and Taylor both there. That worked well for the Cats. Motlop gets to the right spot. Where to next? It was a bit cute, and then the fumble, as Kingy said, it's getting greasy. Swans ready to pounce, and they do. Jeddah not out of it from 60. Enright, the line, the goals. Oh, and it's got there. That could be a telling blow on half-time for the Swans.
It's an outstanding kick from Lewis Jeddah, but you've got to take your hats off to Luke Parker, who caused the turnover with just some great pressure I think it was on Caddy, was the one that couldn't ultimately get the ball out. There it is, he taps the ball clear there with pressure, and then the hand pass fires out to Jetta, and there aren't that many players in the game that off one step can kick it from 54, 55 metres.
Well, as talented as Jetta is, he's not often in the top disposal winners on the ground, but 15 to half-time, that usually means the Swans are going to be in front, and they are. The lead is 13. They've been dominant since really early in this second term. Enright down to 37 seconds. Cats would dearly love one late in this quarter. Gregson spinning through Brandon Jack. Crowd thought it could have been holding the ball. Handball for Motlop. The gather was excellent, but then he was rounded up just as smartly. Back for Gregson. He fashioned something of a kick. Tough for Bartel. Who's going to get on the end of this one? No one really could, and you can't blame them. Parker, superb to Jack. Is there time for the Swans? You wouldn't think so. Clock down to 8 seconds, but they'll be thrilled with their finish to the quarter. Siren sounds. The Swans kicking 4 of the last 5 goals, and they have a 13-point lead here at Simmons Stadium. Kingy's going out to catch up with Jared McVeigh. We'll get to him. In fact, we can get to him right now.
Well, Jared, from the captain's point of view, what's happening out here?
Yeah, look, pleasing start. You know, it's a pretty up-tempo. You know, they're surging the ball pretty well, so we've just got to get those defence behind the ball a lot better. But other than that, the boys are going well.
You're able to counter-attack early, then you got your contested game rolling.
Yeah, I think the start of the second we're down by about 10 or so we got that back in, then we get back in front with some good ball use.
Get in there and have a chat to him, mate.
Good stuff. It's a real contest, and the Sydney Swans just showing their experience. It's a big night for Adam Goodes and all the other big names that are on display. Joel Selwood, we'll hear more from him next on his 200-game milestone. Round 19, Geelong and Sydney, and as expected, all eyes on Adam Goodes. A big welcome for him as he got off the bus for this big game. And the shared banner, of course, Joel Selwood's 200th game as well. Always going to be a big contest. Andrew Mackie has provided plenty of dash for the Cats in a real contest in the opening term. Brandon Jack was prominent early. Jackson Thurlow taking a great grab. Adam Goodes quiet until the big intercept and a goal in the first quarter. The Swans narrowly led by 3, but it was Geelong that took the initiative at the start of the second term. Their big men started to get rolling. Hawkins getting into the game and their experienced defenders on top. But that man, Lewis Jetta, has been a threat all night. He popped up with a fantastic goal, and then Kurt Tippett started to get into the match as well. And we find ourselves at half-time with the Sydney Swans in front, 8-5-53 to 6-4-40, and they deserve their 13-point lead, Jason.
They probably do, Hutto. They've had a few more inside 50s, but most of the numbers are actually pretty similar. I think we've got a great contest on our hands, and it's just a matter of who's going to use the ball well at critical times. We've seen good players from both teams turn it over when they've had opportunities to go forward.
Well, let's have a look at Adam Goodes and maybe a listen too as to the response by the crowd when Adam Goodes has had the ball.
I reckon they've been very respectful, Hutto. He's had 6 possessions, kicked the goal. There's been a few little noises, but I reckon the Geelong crowd's been fantastic.
I think they love that moment when Goodes kicked it to Joel Selwood.
Yeah, but then Selwood turned it over straight away.
Let's get down to Dermot Kingy.
Thanks very much, Hutto. Well, you did mention Joel Selwood there in his 200th game. He's opposed to Tom Mitchell. Let's have a look at Selwood's game. How do you feel he's going?
He's doing what he does. He's in tight and tough. His ball is generally not a pretty ball. He's not a metres gain type player. He's a distributor. That's what he does. He gets the ball to the outside, allows Mackie to do his damage, allows the smalls on the outside to do their thing, gets the ball to Gregson, gets the ball out of the congestion. He's had 18. 10 of them contested, 4 clearances. Let's have a look at what they look like on the field and plot where they actually are, Derm, because it's been a really good spread tonight. I mean, most of those around the action, around the contested situation. He's on track for another 30-plus game, 30 disposals plus. He's done that 49 times in his career. Could he bring up the 50 in his 200th?
Good field coverage there, nothing inside forward 50, and he had a little break up forward. We have a look at it head-to-head, and 18 v Mitchell's 15, contested possessions 10-2. Mitchell's not tagging him. is playing against him, and he's allowing Selwood to take him to the footy. Now, if I was going to say they're great numbers for Selwood. If I'm going to be really harsh on him, and he's a champion, so you want to be really nailing of him, there's no bust-out possessions. Here, bust out, break forward, 2 or 3 steps, look forward, and can deliver it forward. He does that, they go even better.
I think Mitchell's trying to kick goals off him tonight. He's got one already on the board, which was basically a front and square crumb in the forward line. He's trying to get forward of him. He's trying to make him pay. He knows he can't go head-to-head for possessions with the superstar of the Cats, so he's trying to impact the scoreboard.
A young and an old bull here, and there they are. Scotty's got the boys in there here at Simmons Stadium's half-time. It is the Swans by 13 points.
A big night for the Geelong skipper. He has won more games in his first 200 than any other player in the game. 155 wins coming into tonight. And a big occasion. He'd love to get a victory for his team, but at the moment the Cats trail by 13 points. Who better to catch up with the Cats skipper, though, than Cam Mooney to reflect on his wonderful career.
Well, Joel, 200 games this week. Amazing effort. Supposed to be doing it with a great mate of ours, Stevie J. Was he a little bit unlucky on the weekend?
Oh, I wouldn't say he was too unlucky when you see it back from the reverse angle, but he's disappointed. He's embarrassed on what he's done. You know, he's done it a couple of times, and he's got to learn from it, because it does hurt the team when that stuff happens.
First 100 games, you lost 15 games. I mean, that's just incredible. And all up, in 199 games, you've lost 44 games. Yeah. Not a bad strike rate.
Yeah, it's, when you put it like that, I mean, I haven't thought about it or anything like that. There's obviously a process.
Do you know what the letter L is? Do you understand that?
Well, I didn't know for a long time. I was lucky that I got brought into a winning culture, and you know, coming to footy club at the time when the boys were really driven to, you know, behave the right way, do the right things.
Has it been harder with, as far as being, I guess, the captain, the leader of this place? I mean, you walked in and the place was ready to go.
Yep.
Now this group's in a transition period. Being the leader of that, has that been fun, hard, difficult?
Probably all the above. Yeah, probably all the above. Fun, hard, difficult. There's a lot of enjoyment in it too, especially. We've had a number of guys that have come through and played their first games, and you know, I still get joy out of seeing that. You know, Mitch Duncan getting to play the footy that he's playing at the moment, and Josh Caddy's last month and Stephen Motlop's last month has been really exciting too for the footy club. So, you know, the future's bright, but it's putting pressure on these boys to make sure that they're, you know, putting pressure on me to making sure that we're doing the right things, because things can change quite quickly.
How long did it take for you to be comfortable in that role and telling these guys, you know, who are your seniors, you know, this is how it's going to be?
Yeah, I was probably pretty lucky that the boys, you know, said, mate, it's your job and your job to take, and we're going to support you. And with that, made me more comfortable. But was I ready to do it if I didn't have that support around? No way. And am I a better captain now to when I first started? Absolutely I am.
Hardest decision as a captain so far?
Going into meetings whether a player has done something wrong, or and you knowing that you're probably going to have to handle it in a pretty harsh manner, but you know, be respectful at the same time. How are we going to make the individual a better person out of that too? It's all been a learning curve.
What about the game at the moment? How's it changed from 2007 when you walked in to how it's played now, and what are the good and what are the bad about it?
You know, we probably changed the times back when I first started, in free-flowing footy and up the middle and taking the game on. Obviously now the athletes themselves, you've got to play along all different lines. Yeah. Probably finding that as the most difficult thing. What I always say to myself and what I want the group to do is, you know, we've got to find fun in it. What's the fun in footy still? Because you can quickly get caught up in, you know, the business side of things.
As far as body-wise, mental, how long you got to go?
I feel great right now. I'm loving what the group's doing right now. I mean, being hard to really score against and play against. The time to hang up the boots is when I don't enjoy that anymore. You know, don't have the hunger anymore. I'm a bit of a competitive beast. I sort of, you know, my body will probably tell me before my head does, like most of us, but I hopefully got some good years in front of me. I think that the way the group's building at the moment, you know, we can be a pretty special side.
Mate, all Geelong supporters hope you've got a lot of time left. I do too, and it's been an absolute privilege to watch from your game 1 to game 200, mate. And
cheers, mate. Thank you very much. Appreciate it. Thanks, mate.
Well, the Sydney Swans on the road down here at Simmons Stadium have had a successful first half. They've kicked 8-5 to 6-4. They lead by 13, and they've got some weapons, Kingy.
They certainly have, and the most damaging and influential player out there tonight is Lewis Cheddar. Off the back of last week's form, he's brought it down to Geelong. He's everywhere tonight, mostly forward of centre. He's had 15 disposals, 10 kicks, 6 of those effective, but where he's getting the ball is most critical. You can see here, most of his damage is done in the forward half of the ground. He leads the game at the moment for inside 50s with 5. He's had 6 score involvements, and he's finished off with 2 goals, including that long bomb there that just got over the top of Corey Enright. He's been everywhere. Let's have a look at what that looks like on the field. You can see a couple of his kicks down back, but most of them forward of centre and going inside the forward 50. His 15 possessions are worth other players' 30, boys, and I think that if he can continue at this rate, he'll take them all the way to a win.
Wow. All those ribbons in the forward half of the ground where his kicking's gone. Let's have a look at the live ladder. This is if it stays the way it is right now. 52 points that to put Sydney on and leave Geelong in 9th place.
Yeah, critical for both teams. A victory. The round so far hasn't been too kind to them in terms of other results, so a win is paramount. The Swans looking for top 4. The Cats looking for finals action again to continue the run since 2007. Blitzarves again taking on a huge load.
So Jeddah has started on the half-forward flank, just out of screen to the left of Kelly, bottom of screen, and Enright is his opponent.
Ball going their way, in fact over their head. Parker was deep as well. Enright runs into both those players, and Parker just made the clean steal, gives it to Kennedy, and that's where it ends. The roadblock from Josh Caddy. Outstanding tackling.
It's a brilliant tackle. He didn't allow... I mean, Kennedy is one of the best at getting the arms free, finding a way to dispose of the ball when tackled. He had nothing.
He looked like a trouser belt around him. He just got tighter and tighter.
Kick goes to the wing.
I haven't heard that one before.
No,
I must admit.
I must give you great credit for that, Durham. Lonigan to half forward, well directed. Walker couldn't help but take the mark. Where to next? Richards one-on-one in the push and the shove. Hawkins comes up to the ball, got it at the highest point but didn't finish it. Now he gets up and he's got issues galore. There's Swans on every side. Motlop's hands weren't as clean as he would have liked. And I think both in the end happy to see it over.
He disappointed with himself, Tommy Hawkins. Yeah. He should have taken that one. He even should have taken the second grab. But did you see the aggression? He was determined to get the ball out once it hit the deck.
Aggression, he was angry, he dropped it. That's the head-to-head disposals, 8v10, 2 marks apiece, 2 goals, 1, 2 intercept marks.
Hanbury, the brilliant takeaway. It may not amount to what he intended. There's Taylor banging it back up. Selwood came late to it. Cockatoo screws it back too far and out of bounds on the full.
He had a bit of time there to just sum it up a little better.
What have you made of the Harry Taylor versus Isaac Heaney matchup? It's quite different, but whoever seems to win that battle seems to give their team opportunities to score.
It's a fair call, isn't it? Heaney has been damaging once he's got space around Harry and the ball even hits the ground. He's able to turn him around.
Mackie gets it in there as quick as he could. Duncan, and it's his turn to be wrapped up, and surely that's holding the ball.
No. Well, the first tackler broke off the tackle.
Yeah, have a look at that for a Falcon. That is a ripper, isn't it?
That's it. He's fallen over, being knocked out then by the footy.
Caddy doing it at one end and at the other, trying valiantly to land a goal. Bit of a tangle between the goal umpire and...
That was extraordinary. He actually closes his eye because right then he sees he's getting nowhere near it, but he can't get his head out of the way.
He'll have a shiner tomorrow.
Sure. Back through the middle, chance for Parker. We know his prowess, and above his head he didn't go for it, made the right call. Saw off Taylor but couldn't get past Kolajasny, and the young man rewarded for the tackle.
Oh, I thought he got a little hand pass away, Luke Weicker. He thinks the same thing too, but the umpire not buying into it.
This kid's having a good game, isn't he?
Brings it back to Enright, the run from behind. Done that before. Mackie out wide for Lonigan. Kelly takes his turn. Blitz up, so it's a wide angle in. Not prepared to roll the dice yet. Lonigan's there for him.
As they're taking their time here, Teddy Richards just wiping the water out of his eyes.
Kick lands about 30. Duncan looked likely until Heaney came flashing through your screens.
Brave in the air, that kid.
Oh, what a talent he is. But they're not out of there yet, the Swans. The Cats intense here. Cockatoo on Cunningham. And there's Selwood. Gets it to boot. Oh, Kenny, the captain. Oh.
That would have been something if he was able to thread that through.
That had the stands ready to rock here. Jack down the line. Tippett broke off, but well done by Lonergan and Blitzarves. Reed not out, almost through it. It was moving too quick. It's a Falcon Fest on the wing. Coming forward, Parker had nowhere to go. Heaney, watch out. That was an ambush on the wing. And Blitzarves saw it through.
And Luke Parker just gesturing to the Swans forward. Someone's got to hit up. If he had have kicked the ball, it would have been a direct turnover.
He's had a rough couple of minutes, Isaac Heaney.
Bit of whiplash there. Blitzarves showing all the skills. Stokes knew what was coming, braced himself. And it's another ball out. This game has gone up in intensity since the break.
You've got to take your hat off to that kid. He's 8 games old. And he's a warrior already.
Yeah, Blitzarves, Guthrie, Motlop, no time to really work it all out.
That's yours, Kingy.
It's there down to David King.
We'll just have a look at Isaac Heaney. He does look very sore. He's gone straight to the... I'm not sure what the masseuse is going to be able to do for the buffeting that he's been copping, but he just desperately needs a break. And I think he's been fantastic as a pseudo centre-half forward tonight.
Yeah.
Down the line goes Kieran Jack. Blitzarves trying to defy, which he does on Nankervis. There's Mollabes, the kick to half forward. Duncan knew it was time for the chest mark. Now Guthrie, he's gone away into the clear, decided to share the love all around. And from the pocket, even Stokes is close enough from there. No, his kick goes across the face of goal. He just wasn't committed to having the shot, really, was he, with conviction.
Well, the key to it was that the Sydney defence didn't buy a dummy from Guthrie. They had to make Guthrie hand pass to Stokes on the boundary, otherwise it was a certain goal.
Cats doing all the attacking for the moment.
But they did let him off the hook.
Selwood going in the rack, and he was disposed of. The umpire said no problem. Was that high? It was. And the knees, I think, went down there from Mitch Duncan.
Joel, stand up. That was nothing there.
Yeah, the umpire actually dismissed him first time and went, no.
Well, that's a little bloke going up against a ruckman.
He
said, just took a tumble.
Is it on the ruckman? Come on.
15 seconds, Mitch.
Gee, ducked the head, didn't he?
Well, he didn't duck. He just lowered his body height.
So a big kick, critical one for Mitch Duncan. You can see the angle, and he knew it too. He has drilled that kick. And it's really on again. And he's in that age group. He's the bracket of players that Geelong really need to come through and lead the way. When players like Duncan and Caddy play well, the Cats are right in it.
A really good run here. There's a bit of a push there, but he went too easy. Contested possession, third quarter. Geelong 14, Sydney 7. Uncontested, 19 to 11. Overall, 33 to 19. They've got to get better reward than 1 goals 2 behind for that.
So Duncan goals to get some reward for the Cats' dominance early in this third term. And you can see there the time in forward half.
5 inside 50s to 1 in favour of Sydney, in favour of Geelong in the third term.
Jetta up to the wing on the far side of screen.
Walker takes his turn, and Curvis was happier with that, I think, rather than trying to combat Blitzarves.
And you see, there you go, there's Jetta already. You got Murdoch just shuffled away from him. I'd be playing him fairly tight at the moment.
It's tough and tight in the clinches. It's out Laidler. Former Cat got one high.
Oh, that's 50. That has to be 50. That should be 2 50s. No, I think it is. Did he say that's another 50?
I don't think so.
High originally.
It's lucky he didn't give away 100 there, Joel Selwood.
Lost it a bit at the moment.
And you know what? I thought the umpire actually had every right.
Could only ever be a 50-metre penalty for... Yeah, he went down easy, but he pushed him in the upper chest.
Lucky he's not standing on the goal line.
Yeah.
Hold there.
We saw a frustrated Joel Selwood early in the season, but he missed a few weeks of footy and has come back and been in great form, but He's given Sydney a golden opportunity to respond here. A former Cat, Jeremy Layla. And lean back on it. It's close, but it's the wrong side of the post.
And then Selwood goes down. There's plenty going on.
Just got under his skin for the moment. Composure's going to be critical in this third term and for the rest of the game. Motlop. Thurlow.
Don't know they have to play that fast out of the back line just there, but
comes
they're
off.
going to work on this occasion. Back in.
Cockatoo over the top for Lang, and the next one's on. The youngsters down the line was Gregson, but Hanbury knew what was coming.
He read it well, Hanbury, didn't he? Ordinary kick.
So did Guthrie, and he dabs it to Caddy, who's directly in front.
You know, there's a lot of the Sydney midfielders, Kennedy aside, that aren't having particularly great matches. We've spoken about Hanbury as one of them. Dermot, he's just not getting enough of the ball at the moment. He's only had the 9 possessions. Kieran Jacks only had 11. Luke Parker 13. They're below the numbers they normally produce.
This lad's a fairly straight kick as a rule. Just might come down to you in a second, David King, on the express pace, the way that Geelong are playing at the moment.
He's now kicked 15-15 for the season. Scores level.
They're just playing really quick footy at the moment. How long they can keep it up or whether they can hit the targets well enough. And this is a turnover. Read it so well, Hanbury, to chip in, but then he got a little brave. The ground's quite narrow here, so those types of kicks, players are closer. They're just closer to the centre of the ground. It's a corridor. This ground is, it's no playing in a corridor.
Just been dominant, hasn't it, for Geelong at the start of this third term.
It's the Geelong midfield that's getting on top.
And the crowd finding their voice. Scores level. This shocking bounce.
Have that one back. Kingy, the Geelong seem to be go at all cost.
They are. They do get reward for their run, Doom. That's the one thing that encourages them to go quickly and get the ball as quick as they can to their key forwards. It's worked for them for years.
Blitzar's looking for a hand out of the middle rather than taking it on himself. Kolajasny back into the rough and tumble of it all. Caddy, he thrives under these circumstances.
Gee, that was an important gather, I suppose you'd call it, to put himself over the footy. There were superior numbers for Sydney.
Kennedy.
I think what the Sydney Swans really need is injection of that man there, Lewis Jetta. 0 disposals in the third term. He's been clamped by Kelly after having 15 and all the influence in the first half.
Kennedy with the clean ball. Heaney's going to find it tough there. Although Thurlow didn't get the job done completely. Got a handball out, and Adam Goods in the right spot. Gets clear onto the left, under all sorts of pressure. He's worked it back, but not enough.
That's a hard effort to snap it too far from there, pull it too far back.
A bit more noise from the crowd on that one.
They certainly cheered, didn't they, when he missed?
Yeah, but as far as I'm concerned, that's more to do with the state of the game, because this game's right in the balance at the moment.
Totally open corridor.
Down the middle.
One down the middle.
Enright challenges Taylor. Shaw and Lang. 2 players at either end of their careers. Well done, Darcy Lang to Gregson. The teenagers combined. The Cats away. It's slow to get there, though. Stokes with a handball to Guthrie, walking that tightrope. Again, Gregson shapes the kick and didn't get the right shape.
Gee, that was an ordinary effort by Shaw. He got done in the one-on-one, and then by the time you got Gregson going back to the footy, which he coughed up in the end, Shaw was 15 behind him, didn't run forward with him.
Nick Smith down the line, well done Thurlow, led with the fist, and it's over the line and out of bounds. It's the Cats' midfield improvement, which we've seen over the last month, which really has led to their renaissance this year.
And all those 4 there are starting to have an impact on the game again now. Caddy was a little slow to start, but starting to come into the game, particularly with a goal in this third term.
I was having a thought before. We've seen code hoppers over the last 5 years or so come to AFL. Do you reckon Josh Kennedy could code hop over to rugby league?
Murdoch.
Bullock's forward a lot, doesn't he?
Oh, Gregson read the drop of the ball and takes the mark.
His pace troubles a lot of defences, and he's just going to grow in confidence.
He's a good player.
Swans have been the worst defence when they're trapped one-on-one since round 10 in the competition. So that is highlighted and evident every now and then, and we just saw on that occasion with Reece Shaw.
It's unusual though, Kingy, because up until round 10 they were super ranked. They were right up the top end for one-on-ones.
Corey Gregson, just 18 years of age, for his 12th goal of the season. He's put that right through, and Geelong are back in front.
Got to capitalise here. You've got a feeling this match is going to go in runs.
It's been a real game of momentum, hasn't it, with 3-goal swings.
Yeah, now look at this. Now, Ted Richards is trying to organise them. He is giving it to Rampy. Yeah, he wants him to be the extra chop out. If his man goes up the field, he wants him to actually circulate and get to the extra floating ball that comes in.
Sydney kicked 3 goals on end in the first quarter. The Cats counted with 3 of their own between late in the first and early in the second, and the Swans kicked 3 in a row, and now Geelong have done it again to lead by 5, and it's a free kick to the Cats.
I don't understand that rule, because he's under the ball and he actually gets the tap.
Yeah, hindered by the inaccuracy of the bounce.
Yeah. Blitzards with some hesitation, a scrappy ball, and it worked out perfectly for Tom Hawkins.
Forwards tend to read that type of ball a little quicker than back. There's not much Ted can do about that. Imagine if he kicked it perfectly with a perfect spin on it, you say, what a great kick. And that's the result you're looking for. That's the...
He's been a much more stay-at-home full forward this year, Tom Hawkins. 41 contested marks, 34 uncontested marks this year, as compared to last year, 56 contested marks and 105 uncontested marks. So it's been stand and be one-on-one, be prepared to wrestle.
Well, that's a contested mark, even though he took it without contact.
So now it's about the kick for 4 in a row for Geelong. It's a misfire from Tom.
He's lucky to score there.
His body mass made that a contested.
John Allmeyer has made the sub. He sees the problem here. He's trying to make a tactical move here. Nankervis off and the run of Jones on.
Cats really sweating on the Swans on the way out. Duncan feeding Motlop.
Great.
Yeah, well, I was going to say there's no escape, but he found one and put it on Kelly's chest. Does he go with the momentum? The old experienced campaigner, no, across the face.
He was unlucky. He was going to kick it to Stokes and then realised it wouldn't have been a 15-metre kick. So he thought, I've got to actually kick the goal. He was done cold and he shook the tackle of Tippett.
Grundy. Swans really feeling the pressure right now. To half-back Reid, third in line. Lonigan there with the combat. Kennedy fires up for the Swans off half-back. Kick to the wing, Taylor in the air. Jack on the ground. Jack got crushed. Motlop uses Bartel. They knew the system there. They're so well drilled. Kelly. Told to hold fire.
And what happens when Sydney get under pressure, they lose their forward structure, and that means there's always numbers coming from defence with the ball.
Got called out there.
Yeah, he sort of realised he wasn't going to get there too.
Yeah, Walker was doing the right thing by running Grundy off the fall of the ball, but I reckon Grundy might have verbally called him out there, and the Swanee boys are into him saying, you ducked your head, but I reckon he got called out of that one.
Tippett guides it down. It's on the 50. And they're sweating on. Oh, look at Caddy. Stole the move, stole the advantage, but just couldn't capitalise.
They're all over them. They have got to get reward here because Sydney will come again.
Gee, Hanbury won't like the look of this. Reaching for the ball instead of the man with the ball.
Rampy feeling the squeeze, drives as long as he can. Bartel.
Shepherd, was it?
The ball is living in the Geelong forward half of the ground because they just haven't got a target to kick to. This man's presented.
Exactly right.
But he's the only target, Jace, isn't he? The rest are smalls.
They all get sucked up the ground under pressure, and then when they do get that long kick out of defence, there's only opposition numbers waiting for it.
Jimmy Bartel this time to Selwood, who I guess sensed the danger, kicked quickly into the middle. He had to. Caddy, and now the run. Murdoch has bolted through half forward. It's long for Hawkins. Can he get to it? He can. He couldn't bring it down. He's still in it, and Lonigan comes through. Well done to Swans, defying, but they're under intense pressure on that goal line. And is it over? Not yet, not yet. Ball up.
They are under siege at the moment, the Swans.
Can they withstand it? Hawkins tries to muscle through.
It's just brute strength.
Gets it out. Blitzers will have a hard time getting that to handle.
Very kind. Got to take my hat off to Kolodjasny on the back flank there. When they turned the ball over, Geelong, they got it back in favour. Kolodjasny recognised Goods was the target player when Sydney went forward, and he ran him off the drop of the ball and gave an easy mark to his teammate.
He's the only one there, Adam Goods, and that's a good result for Sydney, because there were 3 or 4 Geelong players there. They've got a wall set at the back. You've got Andrew Mackie sweeping. Any quick long kick under pressure from the Swans is going to come straight back.
Margin is 7. Blitzers tipped it down, and it's over the line and out of bounds.
I just wonder, Jason, whether you look at putting Lewis Jetta in this forward line and just seeing if his speed can impact. He's not touching the ball in the third term. He hasn't had a disposal just yet. He looks a bit lost. Just give him some space to see if he can impact the scoreboard.
Oh, Selwood, he can impact the contest. It goes again to Hawkins.
That's that breakaway possession I'm talking. I called for at half-time, where his knowledge, his ability to get on the footy at the stoppage, and then 3 or 4 quick shuffling paces and get the ball forward.
Reid gets it down. Caddy, what a threat he's been. Can't get the clean kick away. Stokes the midget amongst the Giants. And Rampy takes the big grab.
Really good hands. But they've lost that run. That transition we saw in the first half has completely disappeared.
Cats not totally capitalising though. Margin is 7. And the guiding pass was a good one from Cunningham for Tippett.
Goods is down the line, so they're trying to deny the sideways action for Sydney and force them to go down the line, because they've got Bartel will be the third man up.
Oh,
well done.
Yeah, well judged by Goods. They've kicked 3-4 to 2 behinds in this quarter, the Cats.
13 inside 50s to 3.
So the Swans desperate to find a way forward. And Goods does, and it's in Jetta's hands.
But they've got to keep kicking short, because there's too many Geelong players back, outnumbering 1 or 2 Sydney forwards.
Parker is really the only target until Reid gets down there.
Oh, nearly a super kick.
This is an even quarter.
Caddy to Enright. He has Duncan accessible. And then Mackie. Guthrie. Oh, it's going to be 50.
He came through with momentum when he went to spoil. We heard the whistles, the 2-2-2-2. No withdrawal from Rampy, then another 2, and then a split second later, it's a 50. I'm giving you the 2-2-2. You're having a giggle at it.
9-8 to 8-7. The margin stands at 7. The Cats have kicked the only 3 goals of the quarter.
That's your mark.
And Cam Guthrie to shoot. Crowd hushed, ready to explode with excitement or groan in disappointment.
It's a bad drop. Let's have a look at Goods' leg fold under him here.
Oh. And he must have elastic joints to do that.
Heaney locked away in the defensive 50. Been a torrid quarter for the Sydney Swans.
Well, you asked the question earlier, Hutto, whether Geelong could keep up the pace. They have run Sydney ragged. It's the Swans that have got no run.
Mitchell desperate to find a way out. Zach Jones, who started as the sub, involved successfully there. Where to for Tippett. Back to Kennedy. It was only a matter of time before he was hunted down. Selwood holds on to Reid. Play on the call.
Should have been a free kick.
Should have been, but not. Gregson burst. The pace again, threatening. It's a deep kick. Walker can't quite hang on. Here's Hawkins' left boot. It's a wild woolly kick.
Wasn't the hands of Geelong in the midfield, in the centre square, really tight, really sharp, to full advantage. They're playing too quick. They're playing too quick for the Swans at the moment.
Umpire's call is out in the full. We just want to see if it went through from behind.
So,
review underway.
I just
It's
feel
hard to
that
imagine that we're going to get definitive
Go
answers
behind your line, Lewis.
on a decision like this.
Review complete. Confirm out in the full.
They're just playing a little quick for Sydney's back line to get organised, Jason. Unless they camp down there, superior numbers before it even gets in, they're just disorganised.
That needed to be such a good kick.
It left Jack free, though, and he was able to profit from that and get it into McVeigh's hands. This is where the Swans can be devastating. Jack, though, again, he was worked out of it. Gregson, good combat in the centre of the ground. Here's Blitzarves, puts his body over it. Swans trying to thrust forward. Kelly with the counter to half forward. Swans have the numerical advantage. It sits well for Grundy. Now McVeigh.
Now they'll go in.
Lloyd ignored Goods, went longer hoping for Tippett.
That was the perfect pass if he was looking for Bartel.
Who quickly realises a chance to counter. Murdoch, Geelong players look at each other. Gregson, they worked it out. Motlop to Enright. Cats just pausing for a moment.
They're making Sydney look slow at the moment. And they're running in greater numbers, the Cats.
Kelly went for a fair bit there for Blitzarves, who has to respond and try it. He did. He fended about 3 off and then was caught, and that should have been holding the ball. Parker, tough for Jones, but they've withstood it all there, the Swans. And now Shaw with the skates on through the middle.
That's the kick.
And for Jetta.
He's got some space.
It's a low ball for Goods. Had to wait an uncomfortable moment. Bartel, he held on for almost too long.
But look at the numbers. It's 4 on 1. There was no one there to support Goods. Plenty of players back for the Cats, though.
This is where Geelong have been pulling the trigger from. They've been going very quick out of here. This is one of the few times Sydney have held up the forward thrust.
But the indictment on Sydney, Doom, is if there's no one forward, how are Geelong then going so easily back the other way when it should be all Sydney numbers?
Yeah. That's one on the top of the head.
Just front on contact.
Reported for front on contact. Thanks, mate.
Yeah, I know. Yeah.
Pretty smart response from
You
Tim
only had to say,
Richardson.
yeah, I know once, Jason, didn't you?
Hawkins, Cockatoo, crashes in at the back of the pack. Selwood. Shaw, sweated on him. Now Cockatoo. And it's been a popular spot, that little triangle in the pocket.
Just your call then, though. Hello, Selwood went the ball and you said Shaw sweated on him. And look who came up with the footy, the Cats did. They're going harder, they're running harder. It's been an impressive third quarter.
Great kick.
Calculated kick for Richards.
Ted
He's getting the booze.
Oh, wasn't
for that mean and nasty thing he did on Tom Hawkins.
Yeah, good on you, Teddy.
Kicks back to the wing. Tippett has it knocked away. Selwood again. Thurlow. Not sure if Duncan was ready for it. Jetta doing his best to hold them up. That's all it does. Kick into the middle to Kelly.
Lloyd has to press up on that. He had to read the cue then that the only outlet kick for that Geelong player under pressure was Kelly.
Walker in front. Too strong for Zach Jones.
They got answers here, but they're not translating it into a bigger lead than the dominance of this quarter suggests.
Richards will spoil this one.
Just having a look at the Swans forward line, to me the only way they look like scoring is if they can get a stoppage, whether it's a boundary throw-in or a ball up in that forward line, because the Cats are well set behind the ball now. They're getting a loose man back more often than not. It's Kelly, it's Mackie, it's Murdoch. They're just really rolling the numbers back.
Just saw a very angry response from Tom Hawkins after that last kick that sat on his head and allowed Richards to come over the top. Gave his teammate a fierce spray.
Fumble.
Yeah, the Jack brothers, then both involved. Kennedy, no way to get clean from his numbers. Mackie, they bring it to this side again. Lonigan.
It's a brave kick.
It was okay though, it goes to Enright. He looked up, only saw Sydney play, so he had to angle it back to centre half forward. Selwood well positioned, Cockatoo fell over, Laidler kept the feet. Now a channel for Sydney to work in. Parker has to think it through. Goods takes it, and where to now? Waiting, loath to kick it because he doesn't really like what's in the 50. He has to eventually. Puts his faith in McVeigh, who's well placed, but he's not tall enough. Kolodjasny.
That kid's playing a super game.
Yeah.
Now, I know the height favoured him, but still to accept that he was going to cop body contact. Now, here's the report. Watch Teddy's hip. This Sort of the back of the head, I don't. Yeah, Ted knew. Hey, that's a free kick at the very least.
He turned himself right around Hawkins, didn't he, as he approached the footy? Difficult one.
It's a big 20 seconds here at the end of the third quarter. The Swans have been able to snatch a goal.
He's only got Motlop down the line. He's held it so long now. He's going to have to heave it up there, and Motlop will have to go.
He's given away the free, but he's bought some time for the Cats, and that will work to their favour. The siren sounds. Ends a dominant quarter by the Cats. Whether they got full reward for their work, 17 inside 50s to 7. They had 28 more disposals. They won the contested ball by 13. They won the quarter 3-5 to 2 behind. They lead the game by 8 with a quarter to go on a big night in Geelong. Cats totally dominant in the third term. It produced 3 goals, which has turned this game around, but it's still a tight struggle. There was a mixture of the young and the more experienced that were able to combine for the Cats. Gregson putting that one through. Geelong's lead is 8 points as we get ready for what should be an exciting final term. 9-9-63 to 8-7-55, and leading the way as always for Geelong has been Joel Selwyn.
It's been super again, hasn't he? We had 18 at half-time, 27 at three-quarter time, so gee, we're expecting him to get about 36, 7, maybe even 38, depending on how he runs it out. Let's go down to ground level now, and David King.
Well, the Geelong midfield had full control in that third term. They were tougher, they ran hard, and they locked that ball in the forward half, and they got repeat inside 50 opportunities. They didn't capitalise. You can just see there where they like to go inside that forward 50. We know they like to go the hot spot, 15 to 20 from goal. They didn't go there in that third term, and such was their conversion. They only kicked 3 goals, 5 from their 17 opportunities inside the forward 50, and they go to one man. It is predictable for the Swans. 11 times they're gone to the big tomahawk tonight, and the spread under that is poor. 2 to Dunk, and then a whole host of single targeted entries tonight. They need a bigger spread. They need to get Walker involved. They need blitz halves to get forward and get involved. Maybe they need to look at throwing Taylor forward, because that will be the difference tonight if they can mark the ball and then convert.
Harry Taylor doing a job down in the back line there. Yeah, he's got a wonderful pair of hands. And yeah, he's a lot of the time been opposed to the in lesser height by Zach Heaney, but a very good player also, and capable above his head.
Well, there's the live ladder, which would leave the Swans out of the top 4 and have the Cats inside the 8 tonight. That, again, could change tomorrow, but so much at stake for both teams. 2 fine leaders, Josh Kennedy and Joel Selwyn, will be looking for big last quarters. The centre bounce a little askew, too much so, in fact.
You can have that one back.
Thanks, Joel.
So the Swans goalless in the third term. We'll be looking to rectify that as smartly as possible.
They did well. Stayed over the footy. Brave. Well done.
What do you think Longmire's main message would have been to the Swans at three-quarter time?
Yeah, I just think he needed to find run. Jason and I were talking during the break. He's just got to get some run from somewhere, because they are stagnant. And you cannot, on this ground, it's too easy to seize it up.
Oh, Hawkins got clear. He just got the first read on that, and that split second was enough to get him clear of a frustrated Teddy Richards.
Well, he needs to recognise the importance of this kick, Tom Hawkins. They had all the momentum in that third term, didn't quite capitalise on it, but this gives them breathing space. This really starts to put the Swans on the back foot. Plenty of doubts in their minds if he can kick this.
Beautiful touch there by Selwood. He kicked the goal from this spot in the second quarter.
Maybe just a fraction further out now, but distance not going to be an issue. And again, the crowd almost falls silent. And Hawkins is able to soak it all up and put it right through.
It's 3 for Tom Hawkins, starting to have a presence. 3 goals, 2, could have 4 or 5. This was John Longmire at three-quarter time imploring his troops that we need to lift. We need to lift in so many areas, because if we're not running the ball through the middle like we were in the first half, when we haven't got Tippett up forward, he's playing in the ruck, they haven't got a dominant forward, so they've actually got to run it and hit some smaller targets, and they're just not getting it.
You don't often see John Longmire as animated that with the finger out, pointing at individuals.
Well, there's just so much at stake.
He needs run and he needs to win the ball. Geelong can win a game by being anywhere up to -12 in contested possession. Geelong at the moment are plus 23 for contested possession. They don't lose when they get it that much.
Well, there's no doubt they've changed a few things in the last month, Geelong, I think, and it's been reflected in those improved numbers in the contest. And they lead by 14. Selwood, Hanbury, he's won. And he's restrained brilliantly there by Selwood.
Well, he's had no impact, Dan Hanbury. Jared McVeigh's had no impact. Luke Parker, limited impact. So it's been very tough for him through the middle of the ground.
There's your contested possession graph. You know Kennedy's always going to come to the party, but four of the top five, yeah. Caddy had a great third quarter as well.
Bartel knew the situation there. Got it to boot as smartly as he could. Lang, Laidlaw, they both leave it behind. Motlop rarely does. Hawkins again, doesn't go for the shot. It's there for everyone to grab. Selwood the first to respond. Sees off one. Oh, that's high. Gee, I think...
And Josh Kennedy's talking to him going, you got to be kidding me.
I don't even think Joel thought that was a free.
Look at it here.
Oh, I mean, seriously.
He didn't go through with it.
It was there for a tick only because he shrugged it up with the arm and then he took the arm straight off. It had no impact.
He just brushed the sweat off his face. That's about all. So Hawkins again.
But when you get them, you've got to make the most of them. He's still shaking his head, Josh Kennedy, because he knows his team's looking straight down the barrel.
15.
So 14 points is the margin right now. A run of 4 consecutive goals since half-time. For 5 in a row and for a 20-point lead. The biggest advantage of the match so far. Tom Hawkins, as he so often has, delivers.
He can end with 5 or 6, Tom Hawkins. And Josh Kennedy starting to feel like he's fighting a lone hand in the midfield. I mean, that is so minimal.
Yeah.
That's just, you can't pay a free kick for that. Not the way this game's played. And it wasn't paid by the controlling umpire, it was paid by the downfield umpire.
The fortunes of footy and sport can swing so quickly. And a little bit of luck goes a long, long way. The Cats certainly got that one, and making the job ever so difficult now for the Sydney Swans. Time is on their side, but they have to react and react quickly. Hanbury, they've been beaten where it matters at the moment. Caddy gets them going. Selwood gets them in. Hawkins is hot. He can't mark this one. Cockatoo in the pocket. A little bit of space. Shares it with Stokes. He took maybe a step too far. It's there for Lang.
He's ambitious. He tried to kick a banana across the body. He's got some confidence about him, but they're too pacey at ground level. They are leading the Swans defence a merry dance up forward.
Yes, in the world of the paces, the trots, he had the blinkers on then.
Down the line, Jetta. Should be easy fodder for Enright. Didn't completely swipe it away. And now a little opening for the Swans, perhaps. Hanbury and Jack. Kennedy and Brandon Jack again.
Stokes's let him run out.
Yeah, Lloyd.
He's given up.
Unencumbered into the 50. Oh, guided it towards goal, but as you can see, he missed.
What's Matty Stokes doing on that? He gave up on that chase.
Zach Jones.
He had Zach Jones on too. Well, mind you, he could have kicked the goal. If he kicks the goal, it's okay, but if he misses...
Isaac Heaney's gone over to Stokesy and given him a verbal for no chase.
Bit by bit, the Cats down the line. Enright took it from Bartel. And now Motlop. Another big game from him. His 25th disposal. Tough one for Gregson. Mackie and Cunningham both got to the drop of the ball. Harry keeps it in. Kennedy got the arms free as he needed to. Reid, more on a hunch than anything. Mackie, Mitchell came, much needed assistance. Cunningham looks straight behind. Oh, brilliant catch in the gully. It's like the Poms from Cockatoo.
Terrible.
Gets it to Motlop. Here's Walker in the frame. Can't mark. They all fall down except Darcy Lang. Too cute.
Oh, that's a shocker.
He's almost missed the ball with his foot.
That's it. Hold there.
He's gone about 2 metres over the mark there,
Yeah, it
Duncan.
was strange,
That
wasn't
should
it?
have been 50.
Low ball for Goods. Takes the mark.
But he's got nothing but Geelong numbers ahead.
That's not as much time. He's given double the time he gave to...
It's
didn't give to the
7
Swans.
forward, Dirt. He's got no option but to kick at 5 metres.
Not 15, but they've worked it well. This is a big kick for the Swans. McVeigh and Bartel, 2 old stages, going hammer and tong at it. Lonigan brilliantly trapped by Jack, but they get out again, as they have so often in this second half. Blitzars, Caddy important, Motlop, Bartel, again he summed it up, and again the Cats get clear. Not the greatest kick though. Thurlow gave Hanbury a look. The Swans are coming. Lloyd, high, odds, very much against Adam Goods. Oh, he almost got there. Kolajasny back there on the last line, Lonigan, and again Jimmy Bartel steals himself and kicks to the wing. Walker tumbles over, no free kick, and I was going to say the Swans can build through 50, but again they can't. Change of mind from Enright midstream. Jones gets it back. Jetta, calm and collected, and he finds Hanbury. He decides to take the chance and kicks a very important goal. That could be the start of something for the Swans.
It's the action of a seriously smart footballer. You look at where he marked that. Let's have a look at the cockatoo slips catch.
It's a shocking kick from Harry Cunningham. Terrible.
Good take. Yeah, if he's in the whites, he's playing for England, not Australia. Now, you have a look at this one here. When it comes back in, he takes it 49 out. If he goes back and takes a set shot, he's too far out to carry that. So plays on to bite off an extra 4 or 5.
Let's get down to David King.
Well, when you have a look at the profile of how teams score, look at Geelong there at stoppages. They haven't done that for a long, long time. 6-6 to 4 behinds. Their contested possession game, particularly from their superstars in the midfield, has been unbelievable tonight.
So their first goal since the second quarter, the Swans. Kick goes inside. Laidler swats it away. Shaw overwhelmed by the numbers. Cats have made their sub. We'll get to Kingy with details of that in a moment. And that's holding the ball. So
Played that well, Reece Shaw. It would have been easy to give away a head height tackle then, but he played it pretty smartly, pretty well.
Yep. Oh, that kick needed to find its target. It sort of did. Hanbury, bit of a labouring kick, and it gave Selwood a look. He could have marked it as it turned out. I just thought he was about to be put under pressure from behind. Jetta hands it to Kelly. There's nothing on for him, but he kicks it in there anyway, and it was to the advantage of Richards. Hawkins really didn't want it, and Richards came at the footy.
A few funny kicks going on.
Nakai Cockatoo is the man that's been substituted out of the game. Hall and Smith in.
Who's been in excellent form in the VFL, fresh from 42 disposals last week.
He'll give him some run too.
Hall and Smith. Again, a delicate little operation for the Swans. Kick on the way out. Again, Geelong hands on it.
Got a pretty big backline tonight, Geelong, haven't they? But they haven't been exploited to the point where they look cumbersome. You've got Lonigan, Taylor, the kid Kolajasny's down there as well.
Again, Kennedy not getting it all his own way. Parker went to ground. That's an interesting call, this.
Just saw Adam Goods come off for a spell. We saw him competing a moment ago. He's finding a lone hand in the forward 50, or as a forward leading up. He's often 1 against 2, 1 against 3. He's competed really well, given the numbers.
Oh, Parker's recovery was terrific there. Kicks a big one-on-one. Hard for Heaney to win that battle.
Well, Kieran Jack is actually full forward at the moment. Jimmy Bartel is his opponent as a full back.
Cats decide on a patient build. Duncan thought about Selwood. Thinks better of it. Murdoch made the offering, so too Blitzarves, all ignored. So Duncan plumps for Hawkins again. Caddy waiting for what didn't eventuate, which was any spillage.
Look at
Richards.
the red jumpers in the defensive part of the ground, which means
Well,
he's
Rampy,
going to have to hold and wait till he can see something further afield. Still deep.
he was getting seriously concerned there, Dane Rampy. Oh, he was happy to see the smiling face of Josh Kennedy. Goes short and effective. Smith and Cunningham working in cahoots there, but rounded up by Kelly. Grundy did well. Thurlow does better.
See, the Cats have been good at shutting down the outlet options for the Swans. After half-time, it has just been a complete shutdown.
Blitzars and Tippett. Kennedy trying to make the play. There's Hall and Smith with a wraparound.
Ball up, contested
I think
possession.
you're John Longmire now, lads. You need to roll the dice. You need to win the game. You need to get this forward line right. You need to score 3 or 4 goals in 11.5 minutes of football. I think Grundy forward, even Richards forward, just get an extra tool down there.
Yeah, they need a marking target, King. There's no doubt about that.
A telling handball from Kieran Jack, and now Reid trying to get to the drop of the ball. He was held at bay.
And they certainly need even numbers.
Enright was going to switch, but decided there was an element of danger. Oh, that's hurt Joel Selwood.
Oh, that's a cork buttock. Contested possession, plus 19 to Geelong. Yeah, that's going to hurt.
Only the second time this year he's gone past 30 disposals, Joel Selwood. Guthrie.
And if my maths are right, Hutto, that's the 50th time in his career.
Well, you've always been very strong on the maths, amassing the numbers, Kingy. Taylor with a big float and does well not to kick it out on the full. Oh, Parker's hurt here. But he is a tough young man.
Some blokes you look at when they get banged up.
That's going to hurt to go on with.
But you just know they're going to get up.
Oh, he's gone down again over the line, so we'll keep a close eye on him. Walker in the ruck. There's Guthrie with a little in and out torpedo. Hawkins tries to come through the pack, and very nearly was able to gobble up the ball. That's close to a throw from Shaw.
What about you, Jason? You went before at him pancaking Laidler.
Yes, I thought Laidler got flattened.
Lloyd, there's one ahead of the Cats there. They've worked it pretty well. Jack and into the clear Mitchell.
Geelong have got good coverage ahead of the footy. McVeigh's on the end of this, but they've got good coverage, the Cats in the back line.
Down to the last 10 minutes now. Cats lead is 14. Not an overly high-scoring game. 76 plays 62. Both teams averaging 12 goals a game this year. So it looks like we're going to land about there. Selwood again with the fist.
Even that kick there shows poor vision, because Kurt Tippett had actually pushed forward and it was George Hall and Smith picking him up. And if it was 10 or 15 metres further in the corridor, he could have flown for it.
There's your ranking points for the players on the ground. Selwood sits way atop of that table.
Guthrie does enough.
It looks like he's going to celebrate his 200th in pretty good fashion, doesn't it?
Yes.
Well, Hutto's just shaking the head.
Well, you've gone early, Jason.
No, he's playing brilliantly, and their team is well positioned.
Kelly back to the wing.
You know, we often talk about how milestones can be disasters for some clubs.
I was talking to Cam Mooney about it during the week, and he said in all his... And I know what you mean. We used to always have disasters, didn't we? But Cam Mooney said in all his time at Geelong, it got them up even more.
Well, that didn't work for Corey Enright's 300, did it?
Certainly didn't.
That one hurt.
Selwood gives one back with a high tackle to Kieran Jack, who's pondering and now going short to Hanbury. You can see his urgency in the last quarter. So too McVeigh. They're so capable, these Swans, of producing when needed. And the time is nigh for them. It's right now, or soon it'll be never as far as this game is concerned. A loss would leave them outside the top 4. Darcy Lang.
Lewis Jetta loitering out the back of the pack there. You see him on the left-hand side of the screen near the 50-metre line. Not hard coverage on him.
Tippett remove Walker. No one quite sure where it's going to land. It fell for Joel Selwood to a one-on-one. Caddy did well, so did Blitzars. And between them, they get the Cats to half forward. That's about where it'll end. I don't think he could have possibly seen Rampy. He spilt the beans. It took a while to kick, but you can see what he had in mind. Jetta.
He's not giving them that run and cut through anymore.
Cats have taken the corridor away from the Swans too.
Bartel in front. Jones is a tough youngster. Made him earn it. Enright, he had Mackie. You could see what was about to unfold. And then through to Lonergan. And now to the pace of Motlop. Turning heads as he always does. Gets to the 50. Goes for Caddy. He's got it.
point post and the goal post.
The last juggle just inside the field of play.
He's being very generous. He should be almost on the line between the point post and the goal post.
This is
he could kick a drop punt if he wanted.
Simple shot.
Yeah. It's a goal anyway. And what a big goal it is for the Cats.
It's one-way traffic since half-time.
Little Shed has gone out of the game.
Yeah, well, he had 15 in the first half. He's only had 8 in the second half, and he kicked his 2 goals in the first half as well. Too much run, too much desire. They've been relentless, the Cats. It's been impressive. No, it's actually... I thought he juggled it again just before he fell over.
Well, the up-and-down season of Stephen Motlop, you can see he's finally hit some form. There his ranking points up and down. He's such a critical player and really looking into the future. He's out of contract at the end of the year. He's a player Geelong would be desperate to re-sign, but there's other clubs coming for him, so he's got some big decisions to be made. But he's been outstanding tonight. 28 disposals, Stephen Motlop. Kelly, Matt gets into his move quickly, and the Cats are pumping again, and so is Hawkins. Decided not to come at the ball, just stopped and propped, and you can see the result. Blitz halves, they're inside again.
He's trying to sneak a kick.
Played on.
No, the umpire's blown time off. He tried to crib a few because he was running in the direction of the goals. So he cribbed a couple of paces there. Unfortunately, you need to juggle it before you can do that.
He's only just come back into the lineup, Matthew Stokes. He needs to make sure he's contributing to hold his spot. This is only possession number 13. Hasn't scored as yet.
He certainly can't kick the ball as far as he used to be able to, but should be able to put this one through, and he has. He's gone back and done it. It's turning into a big night of celebration.
Headaches for that man. And he doesn't have much at his disposal, unfortunately. This has just been a comprehensive second half from the Cats. On the back of a hard-nosed midfield dominating contested possession. They've then been able to dominate the uncontested possession. They've outrun Sydney, and they've made the Swans look slow.
Just having a look at the Cats over the last 3 to 4 weeks, and the most pleasing thing for Chris Scott will be the scores conceded. 9 goals, 6 goals, 8 goals, and tonight again only 9 goals. I think that and contested possession in the midfield will be the most pleasing factors for the coach tonight.
So it's almost beyond urgent now for the Swans. They have to get it out of the centre and get it in there quickly. Reid took front position. Adam Goods with an opportunity. Kolajasny sees him off, digs deep, indulges in a bounce, but Kolajasny gets him. And the crowd have no hesitation in going up for that one.
Did he handball it? I thought he bounced it and then handballed it when he got it back.
The umpires are going to get trigger happy on that one when there's prior opportunity. Heaney chips in.
Yeah, and chips in well.
Yeah, they get trigger happy on the run down from behind because there is... Yeah,
he's frustrated. I thought he knew he was going to get tackled, so he got the quick handball away.
Before any contact?
As it was happening, I reckon.
So Isaac Heaney, this is where Sydney, as we said, they just have to kick goals from here.
Yeah.
He's missed everything. Let's just have a look. So he bounces. No, it's a good decision. Yeah. It's a good decision. Look at Chris Scott.
And he knows it. Your team switched on tonight, Scotty.
Yeah, the ball got slapped onto his fist, but it certainly wasn't a handball. Another little falcon.
Been an incredible second half by Geelong. Swans trying to swarm, but Thurlow, he's been a real find for them this year. He'll be a rising star contender this week.
He's not bad, that young kid, number 14. Don't mind him.
Yeah, young Selwood.
He's been a find for them. It's taken us 199 to recognise him, but he's been reasonable tonight, Anthony.
He has, yeah. Boy from Bendigo, he's got a bit of a future, you think?
Yeah, he might cut it.
He's there to try and counter Sam Reid.
Yeah, we just saw Sam Reid. He's had a really quiet night. He started really well. Early first term, got some marks, early possessions, He's now stuck on 10 possessions. He hasn't kicked a goal. And they haven't had targets to kick to in their forward 50, the Swans. That's been the problem for them.
No Buddy Franklin. I mean, it would have been fascinating if he played tonight. He never played down here in a home and away game, Buddy. Walker with the intercept. Hawkins is inside. He'd like to get one more chance. No, he says no, go short instead.
Go.
Caddy, who's been a wonderful player. He's kicked.
Work.
Everything's coming up roses for the Cats. Duncan, now they're getting cute.
That's 8 metres.
Yep.
Yeah, just if you go back to Reed, Jason, that type of player, well done, Josh Caddy. That type of player, Sam Reed, as a young forward, still, and he hasn't had a lot of time in the forward area of recent years because of the two new inclusions. That's home.
Yeah. Chalk another one up. They're rampant now. 32 points the difference. And Kingy, it's been almost 2 years since Geelong have had a contested possession advantage as much as they've got tonight. 138 to 116.
I can't recall them having such dominance, Hutto. I mean, by design, they went away from contested possession and clearance winning performances 18 months to 2 years ago, wanting the turnover battle, but now they are back. All components of the game covered.
I just reckon with Sam Reed, if you go back to that one, your question, you know, he started off well. A player like that, as a key forward at his age, he loses his compass on the ground of where to find the footy if he's forced to go into the ruck, and they want to tip it forward, bigger presence. Once again, he's just lost around the footy on that occasion.
Well, I reckon tonight, though, one of the biggest problems for Sydney was they played Nankervis, but they didn't ruck him much. Tonight, they needed Tippett as a presence up forward. Yeah. Maybe play Tippett as your dedicated full forward and Reed as your centre-half forward. They needed those marking targets. They haven't had them.
But you can understand why they went in that way. He had such a dominant, wonderful game.
He played his best game last week.
Yeah.
But what's the point of playing Nankervis if it's only as a second ruckman?
Here's Motlop again. His 30th disposal, and that's his 31st. Back to Thurlow.
He's going to have to get there quick.
Give Sydney an inside 50. Back to Bartel and then to Stokes.
Hey, went around.
5-1 to 1-1 in the final term.
Well, it's 8 goals to 1 since half-time. Selwood's going to try and take a high mark. He can't quite there, but the old stage of Corey Enright comes through to Blitzars, who just relaxed a fraction, but he marks it anyway. Kelly streaming forward, screaming for the ball out at half forward. And now they're going to start just to toy with him a little.
Do you think he'd be disappointed in his 200th game to not have some sort of strapping around his face?
Yeah, he might just go to the corner man and say, cut me, Mickey. Oh.
Grundy, back for Mitchell.
Oh, wow.
Gee, that was laced with danger, wasn't it? Cats everywhere, clambering for it. Murdoch will try and get the left. No, he handballs it. Colin Jasny! Wouldn't he dearly love to be able to kick a goal?
They were queuing up to kick that one.
Teddy Richards is saying, spread it. We've got to go long. We're going to kick a 70-metre talk down the middle. So the Cats are going to gather down there too.
Cheddar, Goods is going to come late. Couldn't mark. Hall and Smith still trying to get the feel for it. Hanbury flicked it around. Mitchell, where to next? There's just no one ahead for Sydney of the play. Jimmy Bartel's on his own inside 50. Now they've got some resources. Kennedy.
He can't kick it because Bartel's back in the goal square.
Well, he tries. He's going to try and get it over Jimmy's head. Jimmy says no.
There was a goalkeeper.
Just to give you an idea of Geelong's dominance since half-time. They've had 29 inside 50s for 8 goals 6. Sydney's had 16 inside 50s for 1 goal 3. They've just been smashed off the park.
Oh, that's close.
Hold there.
Mackie bangs it up. Taylor well positioned to mark.
It's a fair case to say they've outreached Sydney as well.
Well, they've been good in contested marks of late, the Cats.
Marking.
It's been one of the elements of the contested possessions where they've really excelled, centre bounces and in the air. Through the middle, Kelly again. Peers inside 50. Gregson's going to get rolling, but Blitzars versus Reed. Reed trying. He's trying really well, and he's able to latch on to Blitzars.
Great tackle.
Could almost be holding the ball.
He's holding it to him. The umpire's going to fall for it, is he?
Oh, he was making no effort, Blitzars.
Yeah.
That's the one where they've got to ping him. Now, all he has to do is make an effort, and then he gets off. But if he's not, that's the one the umpire should be pinging. So, look at the Bulldogs in 4th spot, and Sydney on percentage falling out of the top 4, and the Cats just consolidating and not without a chance at top 4.
So listen to that roar around Simmons Stadium. There's a minute to go to the top of the square. Blitzhouse, so close. And they get one more. Swans trying to be defiant, but Corey Gregson, he had Rampy well and truly in his side. It's a fairly generous decision or non-decision by the umpire. Hall and Smith rounds it up. Joel Selwood's on 35 disposals. See if they'll get the ball back in his hand before the game concludes. Taylor. Patient build up again. There's some tired boys out there now. They're counting down the last 15 seconds. A high bomb. Reed.
Yeah, good to jump.
Kennedy, big tackle from Motlop. Siren about to sound on a massive win for the Cats. In game number 200, their mighty leader, Joel Selwood. G-Town becomes J-Town tonight. 35 disposals for the leader. And the Cats are back in the 8 as they win by 32 points. They've had those fireworks in store all season and had to wait till round 19 for a night game to let them fly. There's Adam Goods. I think everyone would be delighted with the general respect shown by the crowd to Adam Goods tonight.
12 possessions and a goal to Adam Goods. It's not a huge return, but I thought he battled incredibly well.
He was
outnumbered all the time.
Far from their worst player, wasn't he? Let's get down to Kingy.
We're just discussing down here with the 200 game and the captain. No cuts tonight. What's going on? Do you have a crack or not?
Oh, mate, we had a crack. I mean, it was an awesome effort by the boys in the second half. We thought we were okay in the first half. We just turned the ball over too easy. So we brought the pressure in the second half, and I mean, we got reward for effort, which was great.
You led the way again tonight, mate. 35 disposals, 20 contested. That's the Cats brand you've been chasing, isn't it?
Oh, it is. But I mean, they're growing quickly around me too. So we just need to play a lot of footy together, and we're getting to that stage where the boys are getting really confident in their own ability.
200 games, mate. What's it mean to you?
Oh, it means a fair bit. I mean, I grew up barracking for the club, so I love the club. I've always loved the club, and I've met some great friends all the way through and had some great times here.
You know finals footy. I think you played 21 finals. You're in the 8 now. There's onwards and upwards for this team, isn't it?
Oh, yeah, but it's too early to be talking about that. I mean, we've got a process to go through, and we'll work through that. And, I mean, if we keep playing that way, we'll be there.
The forward line looked powerful tonight. Tomahawk looked back to his best.
Yeah, he was. I mean, jumpy at the ball. He's a pretty good player to play with.
Was there a rock off to carry off tonight? Who's carrying you off tonight?
Oh, I'm not sure. I mean, all of them can tonight.
Good on you, mate. Well done.
Oh, he was magnificent. 6 inside 50s, 4 tackles, 20 contested possessions. And as we saw, 35 disposals for Joel Selwood. And the Cats back in the 8 as they need to be after Adelaide's win on Friday night. They needed to win tonight against the Swans. And there'll be plenty of questions about Sydney now, but no Lance Franklin tonight. But Glyn also an important late withdrawal for them.
We can hold the ball in the forward line, and that's what they needed in the first half. They were getting it in there. They didn't get full advantage of it, but neither did Geelong at the other end. They didn't get full advantage of their usage or their dominance, I suppose, of inside 50s, but the third quarter was telling.
He's also a gut runner, McGlynn, and they didn't have a lot of that in the second half, the Swans.
No, that's true. Couldn't get through the lines after half-time.
No, but you've got to give credit to the Cats. How good were they after half-time? It was just a total commitment from all 22 players.
So what do we read briefly into the Swans and their performance tonight as we see them coming off? They're walking to some happy faces there, but
the shuffle down of no ruckman is hurting them. It disrupts their forward line, and it disrupts them obviously in the middle of the ground. Let's go back down to Swingy in the middle of the ground. A big man in the middle of the ground with our David King.
We're down here just enjoying the superstar, the rock star welcome as he makes his way around the ground. Joel Selwood, he's been an amazing captain and an amazing leader, hasn't he?
Yeah, he sure has, Kingy. He's a great mate of mine. We were drafted together, and mate, it's hard to believe he's played 200 games already, but I know he's widely regarded within the AFL, but for us to play here for his 200, we've had a lot of great milestones, and we're disappointed we lost Corey and Knights a couple of months ago now, but this is great for Joel and great for the footy club because that was an important one for us.
He's a great leader, isn't he? I mean, we hear a lot externally of what he does for people at the Geelong Football Club, not just the players, the whole club itself. Let us in a little bit. What's he like as a leader?
Oh, he's super. I mean, we all know how courageous he is, but I mean, when something needs to be done, he's the one that always seems to be doing it through the midfield. And to be doing it the way he has for 9 years, so consistently is amazing. He does a lot of things outside of, the footy oval, and he's great to have on our team. 35 disposals, 20 contested, nothing unusual for him. Well, yourself. A cut on the head probably as well.
No scratches tonight, which is disappointing for him. But yourself must have wrapped with your performance tonight.
Oh, yeah, look, I feel like I'm getting back to some probably more consistent footy. Probably didn't have the disposals I would have liked tonight, but I felt like the contest was there, and body's feeling good, so you can't complain.
The boys are telling me to wind it up because you want to carry him off the ground.
Oh, yeah, I got to do it.
Thanks,
mate.
He's got to attend to business.
Yeah. There's a bit of speculation about who it would be. I reckon, as Tomahawk explained, they got drafted together, and I reckon he can pretty comfortably lift any player off in the AFL, Tom Hawkins. So it's Harry Taylor and Tom Hawkins with this most admired man, Joel Selwood. A triumphant night for the Cats. A 32-point victory over the Sydney Swans. The only night game of the year here, and just real jubilation. Pictures say it all, really, and see what the win means to this team.
Good work. Yeah, I know.
I reckon they're going to sing this one with a bit of gusto, Hutto.
This is loud here, Toms. Hey boys, this is loud here.
I think you're right. Big win for the Cats. They're in the 8 tonight. They lead, well, they win by 32 points. A night of triumph over the Swans. Well, it wasn't just about the old, it wasn't just about Joel Selwood and Tom Hawkins. There was plenty to like about the young for the Cats. Guys like Caddy and Guthrie, and certainly Stephen Motlop was outstanding, 32 disposals, but all the focus and all the love on the siren for that man, Joel Selwood, as he's carried off the ground there.
You're trying to say he's getting dacked there while he's getting carried off.
Looked a bit that way, didn't it? 14-11-95 Geelong to 9-9-63. Unbelievable second half, really. I don't think anyone could see that coming. Joel Selwood said they weren't unhappy with their first half, just had to clean up their ball use a bit. Well, they certainly did that. They dominated the second half.
Third line down there. 147 contested possessions to 120. We know coming into this game, if they can get within 12, the opposition being plus 12 in contested possessions, they win the game. To be plus 27, they're always going to win.
Well, they did. As we said, they dominated the second half. Sydney just unable to get the ball into their forward line with any system. And certainly when it was there, they had an impossible task in trying to kick goals.
Well, it was a fantastic evening for one man in particular, though, wasn't it? The captain of the Geelong Football Club, Joel Selwood. In game number 200, this is a guy that sets the standard week in, week out. David King spoke pre-game about how his last month has been huge and it's really got the Cats back on track. Well, they've consolidated inside the top 8 on the back of 35 touches, 8 clearances. 20 of his 35 touches were contested. That's the sort of stuff that he brings to the table.
This is what I was saying at halftime. You need that type of Selwood possession where he wins it in there, 2 or 3 steps to the outside, bust and break away and put the ball to advantage. Slides through another one there and ends up putting it on to Tommy Hawkins, and he kicks one of his 4 goals out of that possession there, and he is a very happy man coming up the race.
He certainly is. Adam Goodes, I think, will be happy to have got through a game and got back, and obviously a lot of attention on him tonight. And look, he didn't have a great game, but he was far from their worst player. And the crowd, look, there was the odd murmur or two, but it was fine, I think.
I thought the crowd was pretty respectful. And you're right, look, he didn't have a huge night, but he kicked a goal, he competed hard, and more often than not, he was 1 against 2, 1 against 3. And I agree with you.
This was good.
He was far from the worst. He showed some serious speed, and Cockatoo, was it Motlop that was chasing? It wasn't slow.
That was his best mark of the night, and I thought Kolodjasny actually beat him. The kid was really, really good. But Adam came back and he looked a little out of touch. I thought the crowd were pretty respectful to his needs over the recent period of time. But if you just, let's look at the game. He looked like a bloke who'd missed a couple of weeks. He was out of touch early on. Kolodjasny capitalised on that. Good kid, Kolodjasny. But Adam worked into the game as it went on. And in the end, they just weren't getting enough supply.
Tom Hawkins, how'd you judge the battle in the end with he and Ted Richards? Because Teddy was terrific early.
He was. Look, Tom Hawkins has kicked 4 goals too. He's had 17 possessions. I mean, you can't say that that's an ordinary performance. 5 marks as well in that.
Tom won.
But Ted Richards played well as well. I thought he battled his heart out. He took some terrific marks. Richards ended up with 18 possessions.
Got reported.
He did get reported.
That's a fair call. Ted battled really, really hard, but Tom Hawkins
shaded him.
He won the position. He's kicked 30% of the score. You'd have to put that down as a big, big win, I think. In the way this match has unfolded, of all the forwards on the ground, most dominant.
Yep. Well, no Buddy Franklin again. We know he was sore with his back last week. Didn't play the week before in Perth, and they got smashed particularly early by West Coast. They now find themselves, the Swans, out of the top 4. And look, they've got a pretty good run from here. But now it is sort of out of their hands to some degree. If the Bulldogs keep winning, then the Swans probably won't make the top 4, but it's going to be tough for the Dogs to win every game.
What a story they've been, though, the Bulldogs. Hasn't it breathed life into the competition? The Tigers are also thereabouts, and now the Cats, Hutto.
Yes, it's an unbelievable run to September, isn't it?
Settle, Hutto.
I'm calm, Derm. I know you boys
You can't even say my name.
You're nervous about the Hawks, but it's been an enjoyable night down here, that's for sure.
Well done.
At Simmons Stadium. A great night for Joel Selwood and the Cats as they conquered the Swans by 32 points.